The following program is rated TV MA LSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
They gave me my theme music!
This is a Planet Fanatics production.
What is up and what's going on, fellow fanatics? How is everybody doing out there this evening? Hope you guys are all doing great. Since the last time it is that I've seen you, I appreciate everybody that is in here already. I appreciate you, JD, being here. Zangbeto, Andre, appreciate you being here. Raptor Cloak, I feel like I haven't seen you in a minute. Appreciate you being here as well. So I appreciate all of you guys chiming in tonight on tonight's news. It is just going to be myself tonight, so it's just going to be me going over some of the news and things that we've got to discuss. Chill Spot, appreciate you being here as well. And everybody that's coming in, we'll get into everything slowly here. It has been an interesting week and a half if you have been on Twitter. Maybe has it been a week and a half? Maybe because of all of the debates that I've been in on Twitter, it's felt like a week and a half, but maybe it hasn't been that long. The Twitter battles, I will call them, have been insane, I will say, with some of the ones that I have been into and some of the ones that I've just observed when it comes to the conversation of recasting T'Challa. It has been pretty crazy, and I've said this so many times, and I want to make this very clear because we are not a recast T'Challa channel. However, that just is the topic, one of the main topics I am most passionate about. And anytime that someone tags me in something on Twitter, or I see something on Twitter that I like about it or dislike, I'm going to chime in on it. And it's been pretty interesting these past few days, like I said. Just in regards to the conversations, in regards to the major wake up, the major switch that a lot of people have had when it comes to recast T'Challa. One of the biggest tweets that I saw in regards to recasting was Cornelius. Cornelius put out a tweet saying something about Wakanda Forever, and there have been a lot of shares, a lot of quote retweets. There have been a lot of people, a lot of bookmarks, a lot of likes, people that have had a lot to say about it, and I found it pretty interesting what some people had to say. So yeah, it's just been a lot going on. So and then, like I said, the people that have switched and changed their minds and have said, well, I don't know, maybe they should have just recast him from the beginning. It is interesting to see the switch, the change up. So, but we'll get into that a little bit later. Some of the things that we are going to get into today are going to be, we'll talk about Wonder Man. Things going on with Wonder Man, with Yahya. The show is done. They are done filming the show. I believe it is still being still in post-production and things like that. I believe. Don't quote me on that. It may even also be done. Kevin Feige recently talked about it, but we'll get into that. We are also going to talk about obviously some Black Panther news. There's some things that we just need to discuss when it comes to Black Panther. We're also going to discuss, which is the same thing, Eyes of Wakanda. We'll get into that. Armor Wars. We're going to discuss Deadpool and Wolverine. And when it comes to Deadpool and Wolverine, when we get there, it is, I guess you could consider it a spoiler, I guess. It was something that was widely talked about on Twitter. I don't really know if it's really considered a spoiler, unless you're under rock, or you have it muted or something like that. I don't know if you can consider it a spoiler, but I'm not going to jump into anything heavy on spoilers when it comes to Deadpool, because I've also been avoiding a lot of the Deadpool stuff. I did not watch. I know who's in that trailer, that last TV spot they put out. I know Sabretooth, but I haven't seen it. I don't want to watch anything Deadpool related as far as cameos or whatever, who's going to be in it or anything like that. I've even tried to avoid a lot of the leaks and things like that, just because I want to sit down in Deadpool and just be surprised at whatever it is that happens. So But those are the topics that we're going to get into, and then we'll go over some of the little things here that I have bookmarked as far as the other Marvel news is concerned. But let's jump into first here. We'll jump into Wonder Man first. Let's see. And just some of the stuff that we do know about Wonder Man. So Wonder Man is something that I have been against since the beginning, since it was announced, and not so much just against the show. I mean, I guess you could say against the show now. Early on, I was not. Let me rewind that. Early on, if you go back to any of our early on videos with Wonder Man before Yaya was casted as Wonder Man, I was on board with Wonder Man, and I was on board with Wonder Man, I think, just because of my love for WandaVision and my love for the MCU at that point in time of WandaVision, of just watching how everything was coming together, watching how all these shows connected. I kind of felt like I understood, okay, I get why Wonder Man's coming in, because they're, Wanda at that point was such a focal point the MCU as a character, them trying to set up so many different things and blah blah blah. And at that time I had this whole theory about Children's Crusade and blah 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 blah. If you've been here, that was quite a time. That was when it was fun to theorize about the MCU. But I now don't care about the Wonder Man series. I don't really care about a lot of these series that are spin-offs of WandaVision like I once did, just because if it doesn't serve to the overall plot of the multiverse and getting to Secret Wars at this point, I do not care. I've been burned by too many other Disney Plus shows that I just simply don't care about. She-Hulk, Moon Knight, Ms. Marvel, and all the others, Hawkeye, all of those that just wasted a colossal waste of my time, and I believe a lot of other viewers' times, and let's not even get on Echo, but a lot of those shows were just, have turned my care for that once was for some of these shows off. So I don't care at all. But when we're talking about Wonder Man, obviously Yahya Abdul-Mateen II is going to be portraying the character, and this is something that they've had to say about it. It says the series will star, obviously, Yahya as Simon Williams, aka the titular character Wonder Man, Demetrius Gross as Eric Williams, aka the Grim Reaper, and Lauren Glazer is in a to-be-announced role. Ben Kingsley is going to come back as in his role as Trevor Slattery. Last time we saw him, obviously, was in Shang-Chi and the Ten Rings, and we've also got from comicbook.com here, they were kind of just talking about it, where they said that they had interviewed Demetrius Gross, well, not interviewed Demetrius Gross, he was in an interview where he gave some insight on the character that he's going to be playing. We've known this for a while, that he's going to be playing the Grim Reaper. I'm not completely high on this show at all, but they said that during an interview for The Sound of Hope, the actor told Comic Book Movie that Simon Williams is going to have some interesting interactions with his brother in the comics. Wonder Man tangles with the Grim Reaper quite a bit. Their brotherly bond is something that is exposed on the pages a lot as well. Vision fans should be extra interested in the series, as well as the Grim Reaper has some ties to the Tom King storyline, and some 90s favorites too. In fact, a reference to the villain made its way into one of the intro sequences for WandaVision. So clearly Marvel Studios is teasing something really unique with Wonder Man for Gross. This means some uncomfortable conversations with Yahya Abdul-Mateen II coming our way during the show. Check out what else the actor had to say as the Grim Reaper, big MCU entrance in a standoff with Simon Williams. And so he did, like I said, he did do that interview where he did discuss that, and I will go to that here really quickly, what he said. It's only like a few seconds long, but they did discuss something with him. This is what he had to say.
Wonder Man there, and Demetrius, I hope you don't mind me asking, is there anything you can tease about that role as Grim Reaper? I know it's one a lot of fans are very excited to see you in.
Yes, and I think people are going to be intrigued by the dynamic between Simon Williams and Eric Williams, as much as maybe they're, excited about the dynamics between Grim Reaper and Wonder Man. This series is gonna be a very, very different kind of show, but pleasantly so.
Fantastic.
And they haven't really said much about Wonder Man. I don't think Wonder Man's going to be good like they're saying it is. They haven't really said much about it at all. Matter of fact, Kevin Feige he was the first guest on the Marvel Studios official podcast that they're doing now. He was the first guest that they had on the show, and he talked about it when he stopped by there. And he said a lot of the upcoming slate he said that. Wait, I think I actually have that from the comicbook.com here. What he said. So Kevin Feige, when he stopped by the Marvel Studios podcast, had this to say. A lot of the upcoming slate, the MCU's head said that Wonder Man would be unlike anything the studio has produced before. And I feel like Kevin Feige has said that about a multitude of projects. He said that about Wakanda Forever. He was wrong. I believe they even said that about Moon Knight, and I didn't feel like it was anything different that they've said that about almost every single project. And every single project seems to be the exact same boring, stale-ass dialogue with the corny-ass jokes, with, the terrible CGI and everything else that we've been subject to and in between. So I don't believe that. But he goes on to say that anything like the studio has ever produced before. Feige also discussed how they had to keep taking risks when it came to new shows and movies. The desire to innovate has led them down some of their most interesting roads. That's an interesting way to put it. WandaVision itself was a massive experiment. Deadpool and Wolverine is a massive tease at what the future of some of the beloved characters from the past will look like in a new MCU. X-Men, and then it says X-Men 97 downright sounded like a bad idea on paper, so that roll of the dice can be really interesting. Wonder Man is being billed as a Hollywood satire, so we have to start there. And again, there's not really much that we know about Wonder Man. I don't think that, we will find out more until later on, SDCC, D23. And again, if we are trusting some of these outlets like the Cosmic Circus with Alex Perez, who does his Q&As, in a recent Q&A, he was asked by a user, he said, do you have any insight/info to share on what you know about Wonder Man? That is the one MCU show that I'm extremely in the dark about, beyond it being pitched as Hollywood-themed satire, to where Alex came back and said there are some interesting horror elements that will be added into it, so it will be a combination of comedy and horror. So we have heard that within this, Simon Williams is going to be an actor, and it's supposed to be a comedy type, but I guess now some type of horror. I don't, I'm assuming adding that horror element with the Grim Reaper. I have really zero interest in this show. Will I watch the show to see what the first episodes are like? Of course. I feel like I'll treat the show the way I'm treating Acolyte. I have watched Acolyte, but I have seen probably 2 full episodes of the 5 episodes of Acolyte. I have fallen asleep on 3 of the 5. And that is simply because the show doesn't pique my interest. I am watching it just simply so I can, as a content creator and as someone that is on these online having these conversations about these shows, so I can give my input about how dog shit Acolyte has simply been. So if this show is complete dog shit as well, I will give that input also. We do know that Dustin Daniel Creighton, who directed Shang-Chi, is going to be also directing on Wonder Man, and Andrew Guest is going to be the showrunner. So as I said, I guess the safest bet is going to be SDCC in July, that we could probably see something, later this month, that we could probably hear something about Wonder Man. Maybe they bring Yaya out. I don't know. Then maybe if not SDCC, D23 is the next place that we'd possibly hear. The show is done, I believe. And again, it might be in post-production. It might be completely done. I really don't know the details on that because I really just don't care. But the question is for you guys. Let me know down below what you think. Are you interested in Wonder Man? Does Wonder Man peak, something that you want to see is a spinoff of WandaVision? Let me ask it better this way. Would a spinoff of WandaVision worked a lot better earlier on? Now that we are so far away, removed from the time that WandaVision, dropped on Disney Plus, a Wonder Man series, again, does it tie into the overall theme that we're currently going to? Let me know if you even give a fuck down below. Let's see what you guys are saying about that. Oh, nobody's really saying shit about Wonder Man because nobody gives a fuck about Wonder Man. The only thing that was said was Andre saying that he does not care about Wonder Man. You got No More Champagne that also said no, not at all. I don't blame any of you. Wonder Man does not pique the interest of anyone, I don't think. And I think, has Yaya... I don't even think Yaya has come out and said anything about this either. So, I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll have to see exactly what Wonder Man's going to be. Chill Spot said, I'll watch for Yaya. And, there are some people, obviously, that Yaya fans that are going to support and watch based off just because they are fans of Yaya. My biggest thing that I've had, biggest issue that I've had with Wonder Man is the race swap of Simon Williams to the obviously black Yahya Abdul-Mateen II. Why does that bother me? It bothers me because it's the same conversations we've had over and over and over on this channel, on other channels that are think the same way that I think over here, and it's that conversation of you've got Brother Voodoo sitting on the shelf, you've got Adam Bashir sitting on the shelf, you've got all these other black, Luke Cage, if you want to go that right, you got all these other black heroes that are a part of Marvel sitting on the shelf collecting dust, but yet you want to get an actor like Yahya and have him come in and portray a white character that you race swap. Again, that's the issue. I don't have an issue with Simon Williams in the MCU. I have the issue with Yahya portraying Simon Williams, and I've used this example before too. Let's say there's a kid in the audience, or not even a kid, just someone in the audience that have never even heard of Simon Williams, never heard of Wonder Man, but they see Yahya playing that role, and then they're like, oh, I want to dive deeper into this character. Let's say it's a black kid or a black. I did use that example. It's a black person, and they want to dive deeper into who Simon Williams is because, hey, that black guy is cool. I didn't even know that this black superhero existed. Then you go pick up a Simon, a Wonder Man comic book, and you're learning, okay, well, he was white in this issue. Pick up issue 2. Well, he's white in that issue. Well, pick up issue. He's, it goes on. It's not the representation factor here that we're looking for. We're not looking for you. I don't want you to just tick a box. I don't want you to just, let's just shut him up and give him Yahya and race. No, it's cool. Bring Yahya in, but have Yahya portray a black character. And you can't say, well, none of those black characters serve central points in the stories that Marvel are currently telling. Wrong. Blue Marvel could have easily come in. There was the deleted post-credit scene that did not get used in the first Doctor Strange film for Brother Voodoo. It was his brother. It was Eric's brother that was going to be in the post-credit scene, and they were going to later introduce Brother Voodoo. So no, you could easily do it. I mean, with the X-Men even coming in, there is the fan art of Yahya as Bishop. From another, I mean, you could easily do it. There's other characters he could have portrayed besides Simon Williams. So I think that's my biggest issue, one of my biggest issues with bringing on Yahya for that role. So many other things they could have done, but we'll move on from Wonder Man, and we'll move on here. I don't want to move to Black Panther just yet. That was next. I don't want to move to that yet. So let's talk Armor Wars. So I'll tell you what we do know here about Armor Wars. And again, we did the video not too long ago about Armor Wars. There's really not much here outside of what we recently talked about. Is Armor Wars a real thing? That's one of the biggest questions. Is Armor Wars going to be, is this one of those videos? Okay, let me get off of that. Sorry. Let me go, go back here. Okay, so is Armor Wars going to be, an actual thing that we actually see take place over at Marvel Studios? And I still believe that it is real. I do believe we will possibly hear something about it at SDCC. Maybe even bringing Don Cheadle out and having him discuss something about it. Maybe bringing out some of the other cast members that we do know are, some of the other rumored cast members that are in Armor Wars. Maybe bringing out even the director, giving some more of a plot synopsis than what we've already gotten for it. I think, if you really want to get fans excited, I think, my biggest thing with SDCC, and we haven't really discussed that, is if Marvel, as they were at the previous SDCC that they did not attend and other things like that, they've been in this rut. They've been in this, we've been saying, they've got to drop Jaws at this, or they've got to drop Jaws at D23 or whatever, because they need to reinvigorate fans, to get people excited for the MCU again and all these movies and shows and whatnot. I don't know that they're going to do that at SDCC. What we've heard from, rumors from some of these scoopers, and again, grain of salt, is that there are things that they are, trying to really wow the audience with at SDCC. And I think if you really want to wow with Armor Wars, you want to get people, back on the train of even being excited for Armor Wars, a project that was announced in 2019. Maybe you do spice it up and bring out, and we don't even know if he's going to be in it, but bring out James Spader. Have the, maybe, or tease the involvement of Ultron or something like that. Really hype up fans to, or hype up this project to get fans excited for Armor Wars, because I'm going to be honest with you, the same way I feel about Wonder Man. At one point I was somewhat excited for that show when I was high on the MCU and everything they were doing. I have lost my interest really even in Wonder Man, you know. Not just the fact that, you know, this was announced in 2019, it's also the simple fact that what story now is this playing into the overall story that we're getting to with the multiverse saga? That's my point. I think for me, and I don't want to speak for everyone, just for me, once we strayed away and it really got stupid, once the side shows and all the things, you know, because we were supposed to be in the multiverse saga, Moon Knight didn't take us into the multiversal saga. I guess you could kind of say, well, no, not really even, no, not Miss Marvel. None of the shows, not She-Hulk, none of the shows really took us into, or at all, I don't want to say really, that none of these shows took us into the multiversal saga. And with us being in the multiversal saga and me wondering, not just with the shows, with Multiverse of Madness, where I really thought we were going to explore the multiverse, or some of this, or even in Quantum Mania, none of those movies or shows explored the multiverse. And I think with us not exploring the multiverse, and this has been a saga that again was announced in 2019, 2020, whenever, I'm tired, I'm exhausted, I'm fed up. It's not a fatigue. I don't have a fatigue. I have a bullshit list now. It's like, well, I'm not going to put up with any more of the bullshit. I don't have to watch any more of the bullshit. As I mentioned with Acolyte earlier, talking about Wonder Man, I don't give a shit about Acolyte. I'm only watching these shows, and I'm watching Acolyte right now just for the sake of having the conversation on Twitter. I don't have to watch, and to be honest with you, I probably will not watch episode 6. This was episode 6, wasn't it? Yeah, I probably will not watch this next episode because it's just been so bad. So I don't want to get there. That's how I kind of am currently with all of these projects that aren't serving the purpose of getting us to the multiversal, to Secret Wars, or playing a role in the multiversal saga at all. I don't really know what role Armor Wars plays in now, you know, a show again announced in 2019. Now, what we do know that is rumored is that it is supposed to pick up, and Secret Invasion is going to bleed right into it. So the events of Secret Invasion will play a role in there. So, okay, you've got those events playing into it. We've heard rumored that James Spader's Ultron is supposed to play a role. We've heard that the Department of Damage Control plays a role. We've heard that, you know, Stark Tech has gotten out and there are supposed to be multiple villains in this. Now, this is an early on rumor that came out that said that Armor Wars would feature a handful of villains that appeared in the Armor Wars comic arcs, as well as Sharon Carter and Justin Hammer, who may also be working together to sell stolen Stark tech. We've heard that Crimson Dynamo is supposed to be in it. We've heard that Stiltman is supposed to be a part of it. Several different villains from the Armor Wars comic are supposed to be making their MCU debuts or returns in Armor Wars. Again, this is all rumor. This is all speculation because Marvel Studios themselves has not come out and said anything about Armor Wars outside of what you've heard from Don Cheadle's very vague statements on the red carpet, or on the carpet with comicbook.com, and what we've heard from Marvel Studios themselves at the 2019 D23 celebration that they showed everything. But again, Alex Perez over the Cosmic Circus has done some Q&As, and he was asked by someone who said, "Hi, first-time caller, long-time listener. Is Armor Wars Dead on Arrival being reworked or still happening as is, or do we have zero idea?" To where Alex came back with a very simple answer and said, "Armor Wars, as I understand, is still in development. We should have updates soon." And if you ask anybody about Armor Wars, that is just the generic answer because no one knows. Not even these scoopers know. There's no scoop to be had because there's no scoops going on behind the scenes because I don't really know if Armor Wars is really happening. I don't know if that's something that's still on the table for the MCU. You know, at one point in time, it was going to be a TV show, got switched over to a movie. You know, Bob Iger came out and said that they were quietly canceling projects behind the scenes. At one point in time, this was one of those projects that was rumored to be canceled, but then Daniel RPK came and dispelled that rumor and said, no, it's still on the table. It's still something Marvel is very interested in doing. But only thing that people can tell you about is it's happening and you should get an update soon. So if we do get an update soon, that update is likely coming from SDCC or D23. There's a few other updates here that I can give you about Armor Wars. It was rumored that Marvel Studios planned to use, again, Stiltman in Born Again, but there's been no signs of that for him being in Born Again, so a lot of people are thinking that he's going to be used, of course, in Armor Wars. We do know that the Ten Rings organization is going to make an appearance in Armor Wars, reportedly. Daisy Johnson and Elena Rodriguez will appear in Armor Wars. They both will be a part of the Secret Warriors, and they are both from the Netflix show. I forget which one they were in. And then we've got one that said the Armor Wars cast may be revealed at SDCC in a few weeks. We should learn about the plot and series overall, including who the villains are. So, again, not much on Armor Wars when it comes to any of these shows that were announced at 2019 or in 2019. Most of them, there's not really... For the ones I haven't done, at least, there's not much on them. So we'll have to wait to see at SDCC or D23 what else we have about Armor Wars. But are you still even interested in Armor Wars? Is this something you care about? Do you care, about the story that's going on with everything bleeding into Secret Invasion? Did you care about Secret Invasion like that? So just really, is it too late? Is it one of those? Let me ask it better this way: is Armor Wars more like a Black Widow film? Is it a film now out of time? Is it a film that it's past time for that film to have been out, or show, or whatever route they plan to take with Armor Wars? But let me know down below in the comments what you guys are thinking about Armor Wars. Let's see. I appreciate everybody getting in. Professor Film Fan, appreciate you being here. Raymond, everyone else. Puma Lee. Let's see. Puma Lee said it might be the same fate as Blade sitting on the shelf. Yeah, you're right. This project could also get that shelf treatment. D Sizzle said Simon was before Vision. Ultron used his brain patterns to create Vision. Right. Yeah. We've got Puma Lee that also said Marvel doesn't care about black characters. Let's see. Professor Film Fan said I agree. Raymond said, to be fair, the Infinity Saga, not all of the movies and shows cover the Infinity Stones and Thanos. Not every property should cover the overarching story of the saga. Now, see, that's where I disagree, though. Not every film and movie did have Thanos or whatever, but in a post-credit scene, you go back and you watch these post-credit scenes with all these movies, it still connected the overall story, because at one point in time, the MCU, like Star Wars, was poetry. It was motion. It just told a story. It rhymed. It flowed. When you go back and you watch some of the post-credit scenes, the movie may not have had anything to do with Thanos overall, but there's the post-credit scenes from I think it's the Dark World, where they take something to the Collector that later pays off in another MCU film. There's the Fine, I'll do it myself, where Thanos puts his hand in the gauntlet. There's the one of where he just turns around and smirks. I mean, even though those films may not have had anything to do with the overall Infinity Saga, it paid off in some way in a post-credit scene, or some type of mention in the film. If it wasn't a long, like a hard-hitting mention, it lets you know, hey, we're still in the same universe, we're still telling the same story, this is still the same characters going through the same shit, but now it seems disconnected. I don't know what the fuck's going on with She-Hulk, I don't know what the fuck's going on with Moon Knight, what the fuck's going on with Ms. Marvel and the Bangles, and where the fuck is it? There's a lot of disconnects that they've got to connect. So I feel like I agree, but at the same time, there was a lot of connecting with that Infinity Saga. Raptor Cloak wasn't talking to me. Puma Lee said there's not really supporting black characters, so if they fail, they can say black products don't really make money. That too. Casino said, why does it seem like Marvel gives black actors throwaway characters, with the exception of Luke Cage, Nick Fury, and T'Challa? Because it's for the sake, in my opinion, and I've said this before, it's for the sake of checking boxes. It's that diversity check. It's like, okay, let's just make them happy, because again, we've talked about this before. You'd have a $1.3 billion character, Marvel's first. We've said this. It feels like a broken record, but yet you take that success of that character, you take the popularity of that character, and you bury it with an actor. And again, emotional decisions were made. In my opinion, way too early. And it's not something that should have been done. When you're looking at the success of not just the character on film, but you look at the success of the character in publishing as well, that alone should tell you, why are we burying this character? And then you look at just everything going online on Twitter with T'Challa's name trending on Twitter for the last 4 days. People are waking up. The conversations are being had. It's just Marvel, and not just Marvel. A lot of these IPs have got to start using their black characters. I don't want a representation just for. I don't want to just be a box that you check. I would prefer to have all of, like when I'm going to get to it. We're going to get to it, but the Eyes of Wakanda deal. You've got all these rumors about Eyes of Wakanda. Actually, let me save that. I'm going to get to it. Thank you for that, Puma. I'm going to get to it. I've got some shit to say about that too. Or that was Casino. Sorry. Thank you for that. Andre said Deadpool and Wolverine won't be a good indicator of the MCU's changes. Fantastic Four better be amazing. Yeah, fantastic. Deadpool's not that film to me that changes the MCU, but I definitely agree. Puma Lee said BP made billions, so they don't want others to be seen as an ongoing threat. Too. Warrior said, I've got a feeling that Armor Wars will be trash. Possibly so. D Stizzle said, they only had 6 Infinity Gems, and that took 3 phases. Phase 4 should have been Secret Invasion. I can agree with that too. But let's move here to the next topic. The next topic we have here is, let's do Eyes of Wakanda. We can do Eyes of Wakanda because it's a smaller one. So we've talked about Eyes of Wakanda quite a bit lately, as we're getting closer to Eyes of Wakanda. They've been talking a lot more about Eyes of Wakanda, as obviously Brad Winterbaum, who we discussed a lot here lately, also is the one of the executive producers over at Marvel Studios. I believe he's over the animation side of things. And when it comes to all the animated things, he's been talking a lot, not just about animated things, he's been giving some insight on some of the live action things coming out too. But again, Alex Perez has been doing these Q&As, and with the Q&As he's been doing, he's answered a few questions about Eyes of Wakanda. Now, in a recent article that they just put out, I believe this was put out today. About Eyes of Wakanda, and this is what they know, all the details and everything. Now, some of these details I did go over in our Eyes of Wakanda video that we did just put out. I believe it was a couple days ago. You can go check that out. That video is where we went into the great detail about this. Now, there are some things in this I believe that we didn't discuss, so we'll just go through this really quickly here. This is from, again, Cosmic Circus, where they say Marvel Studios is currently on a hot streak of exciting releases in 2024. The studio started strong with the premiere of an animated revival of X-Men, the animated series, X-Men 97. The show rejuvenated excitement amongst the fan base on 2 fronts, encouraging excitement for the future animated series for the Marvel Animated Studios and generating hype for the future of the X-Men and the X-Men related stories. Next on the docket, fans can look forward to the release of Deadpool and Wolverine in theaters this month, and Agatha All Along premieres in September. However, there is at least one more project fans can look forward to for releasing later this year for the Black Panther based series Eyes of Wakanda. Eyes of Wakanda is an upcoming animated series that will explore the history of Wakanda and its brave warriors throughout history. The series, produced by Ryan Coogler and directed by Todd Harris, will tie directly into stories of the MCU, according to Brad Winterbaum on the official Marvel podcast. It says the story's premise follows. Throughout Wakanda's history, brave warriors have been tasked to travel the world, retrieving dangerous vibranium artifacts. This is their story, quoted via Variety. We've talked about that quite a bit as well. It says, outside the information, very little has been confirmed about the show, and much has been rumored throughout the past few months. However, in this article, we reveal some exciting new updates about the show and what you can expect. So they go on to say Eyes of Wakanda animation studios and styles. The Cosmic Circus can exclusively report that Axis Studios is at least on one of the studios working on the animation for Eyes of Wakanda. Axis Studios is highly renowned animation and VX studios. Some of their work include Love and Death, Robots, Mason Rats, whatever the fuck that is. I don't know what the fuck any of this shit is. Now, some of y'all might know Destiny 2, Diablo 2, Yeah, that's outside my realm. No idea. Then it goes on to say, according to the source, we can also report that the show's animation style will be fully CG animated. So it's going to be that What If animation style, representing Axis Studios' previous work. Sources have also described the show as very fast-paced, fluid, exhilarating, and very exciting. Then it goes on to say, story points for Marvel's Eyes of Wakanda. During one of the recent Discord Q&As, I told people that if they were interested in a future storyline of the MCU, they should look to the stars, specifically Eternals Volume 3. Many people assumed I was referring to the future Eternals adventure, but I was not. I was referring to a story that will be a plot point for one of the upcoming episodes of Eyes of Wakanda, which will feature the introduction of the Horde, an alien race that is debuted in Eternals Volume 3 comic. And we talked about this in the most recent video we did for Eyes of Wakanda, so this is one of the scoops that we already knew. This particular story is exciting for several reasons. While I cannot report on the details of this episode yet, the implications of this episode will have for the future of the MCU are very exciting, since the show ties directly into the MCU, and in addition, it's very much has to do with the overall theme of the multiversal saga. Now, before I continue that, this is what I was going to say earlier on my issue with Eyes of Wakanda. I have several issues with Eyes of Wakanda, but one of the issues I have with Eyes of Wakanda is, here we are back in Wakanda, but we are not truly learning. And I don't know this. I don't know because I have not seen the show. I'm just going based off of what I'm currently being told from Alex Perez, what we've heard from other leaks and rumors. And if we are to believe these scoops, again, grain of salt, may not be true. But everything is going on inside of Wakanda except fucking Wakanda. And that's my issue. My issue is we learned that we're going to learn about all the Greek gods. The Greek gods are going to make an appearance in Eyes of Wakanda. Achilles is making an appearance in Eyes of Wakanda. The Horde is making an appearance in Eyes of Wakanda. So what are we learning about Wakanda? What are we learning about Wakanda? Because if you've got all the Greek gods, when you have a full-ass fucking pantheon of gods that you could be using from the Black Panther lore, but you want to deviate to Greek gods? I don't know what frightens the MCU or Marvel, these producers, whoever the fuck is making the decisions about Wakanda, about the Black Panther franchise, but it seems like when it comes to this black place that's never been colonized, they are the most technologically advanced nation in the world, they are this, they are that, we know the list. When it comes to that place, we can't seem to actually grasp and learn anything about that place. Take yourselves back to Wakanda Forever. What were we promised? Well, since T'Challa's not going to be in the film, we are going to learn about every corner of Wakanda. Those are the president of Marvel Studios' words, Kevin Feige. We are going to learn about this about Wakanda. You're going to learn about this tribe from Wakanda. How come Wakanda got flooded by Namor, but the River Tribe is nowhere in Wakanda Forever? They don't even get mentioned. Don't you think that would be the tribe you'd want to go to when it... Oh, Nakia's there. Okay, cool. But she was in Haiti for however fucking long. So I'm not even going to get into that film or whatever, but what I'm saying is, even in that film, we learned nothing about Wakanda. The only thing I've said before we learned about Wakanda is susceptible to getting their fucking asses beat every time they're on camera. We learned that Namor and anybody else that wants to can just waltz into Wakanda with the Queen Mother and the princess, just no guards around, just open and just whatever. And we learned that Wakanda's not as smart as they are portrayed to be in some of the other iterations that we've seen in publishing or in the first Black Panther film. We learned that they were weak. That's what I learned about Wakanda. I didn't learn anything new about Wakanda outside of they are weak. We learned that vibranium is not special to Wakanda neither. So that's my issue here. Yeah, the Horde is cool. Yeah, the Greek gods are cool. Sure, throw in Achilles. Oh, you want to throw in the 10 rings too? Because they're supposed to be in the shit too. Throw in all that shit. What are we learning about Wakanda? We want to throw this and that and this and that, but we don't want to put the franchise's main character in it. That's what I'm saying. We're doing all these loops and tricks and hoops to avoid Wakanda, to avoid the franchise's main character, the central story being told. And before you jump in the comments with that bullshit, I can hear you. Well, this is a story taking place before T'Challa. Before I get with my issues with that, let me finish. This is a story taking place before T'Challa. This is going to be in and out in the multiverse and this and that. This is what you were just complaining about. You wanted multiverse, you're getting multiverse. Let me pump your fucking brakes. The issue with that is you don't have the franchise's main character a part of the stories being told. In the Secret Wars multiversal saga, that character that we're doing loops and hoops to avoid plays a very important role. This place that we're doing loops and hoops to avoid actually telling central stories about plays a very important role. So yeah, that's why I'm saying it's an issue when you don't have that character or this place that you're claiming that we're going to explore. We're not exploring Wakanda. We're not exploring Wakanda. And again, I could be wrong because I have not seen the show. But from everything that I've heard and seen and all the leaks and rumors and whatever the fuck else, everything is supposed to be exciting about this place of Wakanda. Everything except the place of Wakanda is supposed to be exciting. You go back and you look at every scoop that these people have put out. And we'll continue reading. You go back and you look at every scoop. Everything has been talked about. Well, this is supposed to be featured in Wakanda. Iron Fist is going to be in Wakanda. We're going to get the pantheon of Greek gods in Wakanda. And it's like, okay. So that's my issue, overall issue here with what they're doing with Eyes of Wakanda. One of the issues here. But it goes on to say, do not sleep on this upcoming Marvel animated series. Well, lastly, there have been rumors about other episodes of Eyes of Wakanda, including the incorporation of Greek gods. Here we go. And even the appearance of Iron Fist. Well, bingo. We can report that they're being told there is validity to these rumors from various sources. Overall, it's best to say do not sleep on this show. What do you think of this news? Follow us and let us know what you think. Yeah, so like I said, that is it's exploring. So, and again, I have to see the show. I'm going to do my due diligence as a content creator and to report back to you guys, and I'll let you guys know. Bullshit. I'm telling you right now, bullshit, because T'Challa's not in it. So even if it is doing whatever, T'Challa is not in it, and I'm confused if this is the multiverse. Well, I have to wait to see. I'll have to wait to see. But then they go on. One of the other things I have here, like I said, it's going to be in the animation style of What If. And this is what Brad Winterbaum recently said about it. He said, it is an awesome show. The action is insane. The storytelling is fantastic. It's both about the history of Wakanda. See? Okay, I could be wrong. Both about the history of Wakanda. We'll see. I don't know how you're telling the history of Wakanda. However long these episodes are, it's an animated series. So I'm assuming the length of 25 minutes, 30 minutes, and you got to expect a minute 30 seconds maybe for the intro, maybe 45 seconds for the intro, then you got to expect another 4 minutes, 3 to 4 minutes, maybe 5 minutes for credits. So the show itself is maybe 20 minutes. So in 20 minutes, I don't know how you're at in the Horde, Greek gods, multiversal travel, and all this shit, but at the heart of it, it's both about the history of Wakanda and also expands into the greater MCU at different time periods. If you're a fan of the movies, this show is going to be a real treat. If we're traveling in different time periods, is there a time period that we're going to travel to when T'Challa was alive in the MCU? Is there a time period where we're at least going to see T'Challa? Because what Panther is it that has that even been made clear? I don't even think that's been made clear. At one point it was War Dogs. At one point it's Panthers. Different. So is it Azuri? Is it T'Chaka? Who the fuck are we following? Like what? So there's a lot of there's the overall thing is T'Challa's not in it. Which is going to take me right into, well, let me end this here so I can get some questions here and see what you guys think. But I've, again, reported on Eyes of Wakanda before. It does come out later this year. I'm sure we'll actually likely get a trailer for it at SDCC or D23. More than likely, I'm going to probably say SDCC. probably get a look at it there. They'll probably talk about it there. That's probably, again, where we'll get our first trailer, likely. If not, then D23. And then once they give us that trailer, obviously we'll react to that trailer. We'll go over some of the things that are said about it and possibly learn more than we already do know about it. So, but again, I know what the answer is for most of you, because most of you ride on that recast train. So most of you are already, I'm sure, saying, I haven't read the comments yet, but I'm sure saying, fuck this show. Because T'Challa's not in it, I don't care. So, but I'm going to pose the question anyway. Let me know down below in the comments what you guys are thinking. Do you give a shit about this show? What are you thinking about all the elements being added to this show? Why can it not just simply be, let's learn about Wakanda? Let's I mean, not just learn about Wakanda, but can we not have the franchise's main character part of it as well? All those things, you know, what do you think about Achilles? What do you think about Iron Fist? What do you think about the pantheon of Greek gods, but we're not learning about the pantheon of, African... Let me know all those things down below in the comments. Let's see what you guys think. Let's see. Rashad Walker said, I'll pass. D Sizzle said, funny, Marvel said it will be the most singular important animated show to the MCU to date, but they've only made 2 What If seasons. Rashad Walker said, we barely learned anything about T'Challa, and from what I learned, nothing about Wakanda, but learned more about Namor City. Yep, that's true too, because they spent so much time on Namor. We learned that, yeah, we learned a lot in Wakanda Forever that wasn't positive toward what they were saying we were going to do. Rashad Walker, I'm sorry, D-Stizzle said Greek gods showing up at Wakanda in comics would work, not in this show because the lore hasn't been established properly. Pumalee said they want to erase the original run and stories of BP as excellence. Raymond said, it hurts so much how they completely screwed up this franchise. After seeing BP1, I had so much excitement and hope for the future. And seeing what it's become is heartbreaking for multiple reasons. Casino said, bro, they killed off T'Challa's entire bloodline besides his sister and son. How crazy is that? Yeah, that's fucking crazy. Raptor said, they could easily have been Bass waking up T'Challa as King of the Dead, but no, Marvel's got to be stupid for reasons. D-Sizzle said they won't even show Big Ol' Cat from Bass, just a BP1 intro tease. Yep. Raymond said we're going to see Batman in Wakanda. Pumalee said Miss Minutes could bring back T'Challa. D-Stizzle said Ra's al Ghul in Wakanda. And Raptor said, or Rashad said, Iron Fist can be introduced in Shang-Chi. Yeah. Yeah. But even the 10 Rings is supposed to be introduced or explored more in Eyes of Wakanda. But that takes me into the T'Challa stuff that we were talking, or some of the Black Panther news that has been going on. So most recently, there was a scoop from, I forget who it was from. Was it Dan? I forget who the scoop was from exactly. Alex Perez over at the Cosmic Circus during his Q&A. I forget. My apologies. So he did a Q&A, as we've been talking about. On that Q&A, he talked about several different shows, several different properties, several different things, and one of those was Black Panther. And he got asked, what was going to be going on with it. But the newest scoop came from him and over at Cosmic Circus, and the news has fans pretty much divided because there have been people saying, and I'm going to get to it in just a second. There have been people saying, why are they doing this? Why not just? Well, let me rewind here. Let me get exactly what the scoop was from Alex. So Alex posted as a scoop that Shuri will pass the Black Panther mantle down to young T'Challa. Shuri, along with Nakia and Okoye, will raise him to be the next ruler of Wakanda. Now, that has had a lot of people split on Twitter. There have been a lot of people saying, she just got the mantle, let her hold it, blah, 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 blah. She just got this. My argument's not coming from that point. I don't give a fuck about her just getting the mantle. I don't give a fuck. None of that. My point is this. We are continuing these tropes. We are continuing to tell these black stories and black trauma. Why the fuck? They did it with Monica. by not putting Frank Rambeau in the picture. You had a single mother in Maria raising Monica. So we saw the broken black household there. Not really discussed, of course, not their movie, Captain Marvel's movie, but I noticed it. We saw more broken blackness in Captain America, the Falcon and the Winter Goddamn Soldier. We saw more broken black households there. When Sam couldn't go get a bank loan, you saw his single sister raising her brothers. Dad's nowhere to be found. You get the argument between Sam and Bucky in the street, to where you got the police coming up to Sam talking about, who are you? It's the black. We're playing on the black traumas and the black this, and I get it for black. I get it. I got some of that. Like, I actually do like that scene with Sam and Bucky with the police and Captain America, or whatever. What is that show? Falcon and Winter Soldier. I'm sorry, I don't like that show. In Falcon and Winter Soldier, I get that scene because it plays on themes that were pre-established in that show. And not only that, you had a lot of black directors and writers working on Falcon and Winter Soldier. Falcon and Winter Soldier was a lot different show before COVID. It got recrafted. So I do get some of those scenes, but we still saw broken black households in Falcon and Winter Soldier. But then you move on to Wakanda Forever. We saw it in Wakanda Forever when you killed T'Challa, then you killed the Queen Mother, then you've got a secret son being raised by his mother. It's playing once again on all the tropes. I don't know why we have to play on these tropes and why black trauma. I think why we feel that has to be the selling point of a film. But again, I've said this before, when I go watch a Marvel film, when I go sit down in a Marvel movie, it is to suspend belief. It is for me to go in there and see things that I'm not watching in my everyday life, that I'm not seeing. I don't want to go and watch a film of this young black boy being raised by these three black women, and there's nothing wrong with that. I was raised by a single black mom. My father was not in the picture. But again, I don't want to go sit and watch that. I lived that. I've seen that. I don't need to be reminded of that in a fictional Marvel film. Why not, again, we take it back to the recast conversation, but if you have his father in the role, then you don't have this conversation. You don't have this missing black figure, this dad that just went out, and again, he didn't just go out and never come back. He is dead. But again, why are we using that death in the black community, in these black films and these black projects, as the motivational selling point, as the plot point of some of these stories? Like, okay, well, this person's now dead, or this person's now dead, forcing this. And I've seen the arguments, people saying, well, Quill's mom died and this and that and blah, 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 blah. What I'm saying is, within our community, within the black community, you see these tropes and themes played on all the time. We don't need to sit down and watch that. So that when you hear that Okoye and Nakia and Suri are going to be the three raising this boy, it just, again, plays into more tropes. And that's a grain of salt. We don't know if this shit is even real. We don't know if this is going to be the film. But as I've said from day one, I don't know why Marvel just wouldn't. And even with the scoop that I received, with the video that we put out that gave me hope, I'm still saying, until Marvel comes out and says it themselves, I don't know why this would not be the story. I don't know why this wouldn't be. And the reason I say that, not to rain on parades, but just because it simply, from the Marvel standpoint, makes sense. Now, yeah, I can go back to the whole, I have that same argument. Well, T'Challa sells. Maybe Bob Iger understands that. Maybe he doesn't. I don't know. But just from the storytelling aspect of where they currently are, if Ryan Coogler is still attached to everything Black Panther, if he is going to be the one directing Black Panther 3, if he's going to be the one writing Black Panther 3, then why would he not just pick up the story where he left off? And now you could say, well, Marvel Studios could tell him we're moving a different direction. And yeah, they could. They could tell him that. Do I see them doing that? No, I do not. And again, until Marvel comes out and tells me different, or I see some type of different moves from Marvel, that is going to be my stance on it. I can give, some semblances of hope, and yeah, I'm still on the recast train and this and that, but as I've said many times before, I'm a very pragmatic person. I look at things as they are. And as I'm looking at this as it is, Marvel has not given you, nor myself, or anybody else in this camp, any indication that they give a flying shit about recasting T'Challa. or anything like that. And again, the scoop that I even got, we don't know that. We don't know that. Just even with this, we don't know that this is real. But I'm more inclined to believe this than I am to believe that, oh, they're about to bring in this person and that person, because they've doubled down, they've tripled down, they've quadrupled down on the fact that, hey, we really are not recasting this character. They've even given you the most recent disrespect with X-Men 97, with people trying to tell you, well, that's not the same continuity. That's a completely different, that's a completely different universe. While telling you this with Jubilee and goddamn Sunspot running around as if T'Chaka would be pierced with. So the disrespect is already there. And I know a lot of people are looking forward to the 1943 game. That's great for all you game heads out there. So this really doesn't even bother me to that much, because I don't play video games. But it bothers me to the point, again, different timelines, so it really doesn't matter because you are doing something that was before T'Challa. But again, why are we still doing all these Black Panther projects without T'Challa? I mentioned this too. I don't follow video games unless it's something that I really, really enjoy. I don't follow this Black Panther video game, that solo Panther video game that's supposed to be coming out, where you don't know if you're playing as T'Challa or you're playing as a mantle passed down or whoever the fuck. But again, why is it that the Iron Man video game is announced and you know you're playing as Tony Stark? Why is it that the Spider-Man game is announced and you know you're playing as Peter Parker? The Wolverine video game that's coming out and you know you're playing as Logan. But the Black Panther video game gets announced and you're like, well, pause. We're not using T'Challa's name. We don't know who you're playing. It's the loops and hoops and the mental gymnastics like that are really irritating. Now, it's one thing to keep him out of live action. We have our issues with that. But it's another thing when, again, you are doing all these curbs to just dismiss the character. And when you have scoops coming out like this, talking about that this child is going to be, this bastard child is going to now be raised by these three. And again, this is not a misogynistic thing. I was raised by a strong single Black mother, and me and my mama are like this. So I was raised by, my mom played both role of mother and father. So she had a tough role, not just raising me, but raising my siblings as well. So it was a tough role. But I'm not diminishing any of that. I'm not, spitting on the single mothers. What I'm saying is, why do we have to take that reality into this fictional story and make that the overall thing now? Now, one of the things that I've said and many others have said in this conversation, this layered conversation that is recast T'Challa, is for these other countries and things and other communities outside of the Black community to see us differently than we are normally portrayed, or than we are normally looked at in real life society. And with that being said, I'll take you to conversations we've had before, the China posters, or whatever, with T'Challa's face covered. You take you over to the Star Wars poster with Finn being shrunk down and things like that, blah, blah, blah. It's important for these countries to not, in communities, and I'm talking communities even within the United States, as far as the white community, all these communities, to see us as not the absent father, as we always are in the films. And I'm going to give an example for that. I don't know for my Black folks in here, I don't know how everybody grew up. Most of us, if you look at stuff, most of us Black folks did grow up the same. But I remember growing up in a white town, being told, is your dad going to come to the game, knowing that I don't have a father, knowing that I have a father, but knowing that my father's not in the picture? That would be an insult as a way to, if we're arguing, that's a way to get at me. Is your dad home? Is your dad coming? Things like that, the jokes, the being poked at because your father's not in the picture. So the absent father, why do we have to play on that trope? Why do we have to give more attention to that? Why do we have to let communities see, those Black dads, they do run. Not every Black dad is not in the picture. Now, there are a lot of Black dads that are strong Black fathers that are in the picture. We talked about in the Thursday streams that I do with Chill and Marcus, we talked about strong Black dads and how you don't really even see that anymore. You don't see strong Black TV shows like you used to, like Moesha, Smart Guy, Family Matters, The Cosby Show, like shows like 227. You've got The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, all those, those nuclear shows where we had the father, the mother. The Black family was a core. The Black family wasn't divided and split up. But now you're hard pressed to find that in TV shows, especially damn sure in the MCU, as I gave you 2 examples already. You got Monica Rambeau's father, gone. You've got T'Challa, gone. Raised his son is being raised by a single mother. His grandmother dead. You know, you've got Falcon's sister raising 2 black, but you know, so those themes are already there. So that's the absentee father one. You've got the thug stuff. Why do we need to be seen as the thug, as the villain, as the person, the antagonist all the time? You know, that was the reason that this character in this place of Wakanda was created in Marvel Comics from the beginning. I don't need to give you the rundown, but to give you a little TLDR on that, it was for that representation aspect. It was for that whole theme to be able to look up and say, I see myself. That's a place that, you know, what could black folks could have been if not colonized? That was Wakanda. So we need to be seeing that more. And I'm not saying that Wakanda doesn't have its issues in the comics, but it is a euphoria. It's a utopia. It's something that, you know, it's dreamt about. So we should be seeing those themes in the Black Panther franchise instead of broken black families and broken black homes. Because the entire, as was mentioned in the comments earlier, outside of Shuri, T'Challa's bloodline is gone in the MCU. The bloodline is gone in the MCU. His father's dead. He's dead. His mother's dead. I don't give a fuck what Letitia Wright said in that View interview that she did. You guys got to start reading between the lines in some of those interviews and shit that comes out. Sister did not look like she was enthusiastic at all to be talking about the Black Panther. Well, Darius, she's still grieving. Again, no timestamp. I agree with you. She is still grieving. Lupita actually just recently came out and said that, you know, the Quiet Place Day One theme and dealing with cancer made her think so much heavily on Chadwick Boseman and her loss and blah, 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 blah. So yeah, they're all still, I agree. You know, grief has no timestamp. Grieve. But when she was talking about it, I got Mia Goth vibes with Blade. Like, not so much that it's not happening, but more so like, I don't know that Letitia really even wants to do this. Does she really even care about this character? She said that, you know, she did and all that kind of stuff in the View interview or whatever. But there's a lot of uncertainty around, at least for us as fans. You know, we don't know. We don't have spies in these rooms. We're not flies on the walls. There's a lot of uncertainty when it comes to the Black Panther 3 franchise. And obviously the biggest uncertainty is the absence of T'Challa once again. Trying to see something else that he said here, but let me see. This one was asked here. They said, what's the plan for Shuri in the MCU? And this is the long answer that he gave. He said, so here's an interesting bit. Shuri is still taking time for herself as she is not interested in the slightest in being Queen of Wakanda. She is still keeping the mantle of Black Panther, but I am hearing that she will eventually pass the mantle to the one true successor of the throne of Wakanda, the young Prince T'Challa, son of King T'Challa. It is my understanding that she, along with Okoye and Nakia, are raising this child so he can eventually take the mantle and become the next ruler of Wakanda and Black Panther. This person said, are there any plans for recasting T'Challa and bringing him back into the MCU? To where Alex said no, just firmly no. But again, I'm not saying that Alex knows. Alex, you know, we don't know. Grain of salt. But the story they have planned with his son is absolutely lovely, and I quite frankly would love to see it unfold as they have planned. And you know, we've talked about this. We've said this before. That shit's going to fail. If you try to do something, if you continue to try to make this franchise thrive without the franchise's main character, or the anchor that has kept people to this franchise, the anchor that even birthed this franchise, if you take that anchor away, you then take away any interest that 90% of the viewers have. And again, that conversation goes back to the wake up that everybody's been having on Twitter. I've seen so many people saying, I don't know that maybe they just should have recast it. I don't know that this is the way that they should go. They need to do this. They need to do that. There's been a lot of conversation surrounding this. this is also too what they said for everybody talking about, Black Panther 3 as far as like believing this, because there were some people hard pressed on like, well, Alex's scoops are some of the best scoops. He knows what he's talking about. Well, Alex is great for what he does, but we have to remember is Alex is the Cosmic Circus. He's not Variety. He's not Forbes. He's not the Hollywood Reporter. They are not credible trades like that. So the Hollywood Reporter, who is a very credible trade, came out and said, Marvel Studios has not officially greenlit Black Panther 3. And again, that takes us back to that Bob Iger conversation. Putting the emphasis on characters of importance here and blah, 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 blah. So maybe he is looking at it from, that money standpoint, the business standpoint, put him back in the fold here because this character sells. Maybe that's why Black Panther 3 has not been greenlit yet for Marvel Studios. Or some people could say, well, no, it just hasn't been greenlit yet because it's way too early for it to be greenlit. I disagree. I would disagree. And the reason I would disagree because, again, as I said, this place, and we've seen the MCU tell their versions of these comic stories. Civil War in the MCU is nothing like Civil War in comics. But as I said, this person, that character in this place, Wakanda, play important roles in the story moving forward that you're trying to tell with Secret Wars. So, I would say, no, not too far off for them to greenlight. But maybe they haven't greenlit it yet because they are themselves over at Marvel Studios are still trying to decide, what are we going to do with this franchise? What are we going to do with this character? Are we actually going to recast this character, or are we not going to recast this character? And again, it would behoove them to recast this character, because the more time they spend on not recasting this character, the more this franchise is going to continue to lose money. And you might disagree with me. You may disagree. But again, $1.3 billion with the character in it. And you can say what you want to say about Wakanda Forever, as I've said many times, and I said in the last video talking about it. The film did what it did. It wasn't spectacular by no means. By no means was that box office spectacular for Marvel standards or for what they've been doing currently. But you look at it, the only reason it even did what it did is because Marvel advertised it as a goodbye. Marvel advertised it as saying not only goodbye to this character, but saying goodbye to Chadwick Boseman. That was evident with the way the film opened. Beautiful the way it opened. The silent Marvel crawl with all the scenes of Chad as T'Challa. Beautiful. But that was evident then. It was always an emotional grab. It was always supposed to be a tributed goodbye. As I've said on Twitter, and I asked that question in that video. Since November, I'm curious. I would be curious to know the Disney Plus numbers. How many people have gone back and just said, out of boredom on a Tuesday, I want to watch a funeral. I want to watch Wakanda Forever. I feel like crying today. I feel like getting depressed today. I want to go watch this, not just one funeral. I want to go watch the Queen Mother drown and watch 2 funerals. I want to go watch Suri crying, the whole, real emotions from the actual cast and cry. I want to go watch this depressing ass, never before seen movie like this in the MCU. That's what, on my Tuesday, that's what I want to do. Who the fuck is rewatching? Bro, that's what I'm saying. I've seen the film once. And again, if you've been here, I walked out. The minute they killed the Queen Mother, I gathered my fucking shit and said, fuck this film. There's too much Black Death in this film for me. I'm good on ever seeing this film again. Ever. I don't need to go. So I'm curious. I've seen as a matter of fact, I just watched Black Panther, the first one, 2 weeks ago? While I was at work? So I'm curious. How many people have gone back and watched that opposed to the first one? It doesn't have that rewatchability. So I would implore them, if you really want to make that money, you really want to see this franchise thrive, you better do something spectacular like recasting this character in the 3rd Black Panther film. Bringing him back into the MCU in some way, shape, or form in the 3rd Black Panther film. Otherwise, if you center this story around this kid, you center this story around these 3 raising this kid, you make that the story moving forward, and whatever the fuck else you do with Black Panther 3, I promise you right now, nobody wants to go watch a broken Wakanda. Nobody wants to go watch a broken Black Panther. Nobody wants to go watch the person that's supposed to be not only the ruler of Wakanda, but the protector of Wakanda, still dealing with depression and loss and be cathartic. No one wants to go watch that. I don't give a fuck how hard you ride on the anti-recasters. You cannot sit and tell me, as an anti-recaster, you cannot sit and tell me that you want to go watch the Black Panther moping around, being depressed the entire fucking film, raising a child, while M'Baku sits the fucking throne. Nobody wants to watch that. Nobody wants to watch that. So, as I've said before, we know that Roland Martin did the whole video or had the conversation that he had where he got the text messages from. He had the text messages from Chadwick Boseman where he said he wanted people to see him and not the role. That's why it's baffling to me on Twitter. I said this on Twitter. Everybody's talking about legacy this, legacy that, Chad's legacy, Marvel's legacy, the MCU. You can't do this. It would that fake acknowledgement towards his legacy that they don't give a fuck about, because as I've said many times, my God, if you really gave a shit about some of these topics that you're coming in on, you would research, you would know what you don't just jump in something. If you like, better example, the video that's circulating political. This is political. The video that's circulating of James Charles going around talking about how if Joe Biden wanted to undo Roe v. Wade, he could do it as That's what I'm talking about. James Charles knows shit for fucking shit about politics. The only thing, James Charles is really keen at is speaking with, underage kids. But he knows shit for shit about politics, and it shows. And the only reason he made that video is because it's like, oh, that's the thing that the internet does for people. It gives them this false sense of entitlement and this false sense of, hey, just because I'm seeing these conversations happen online, I then now know so much. Everything he said in that fucking video was false. Every fucking thing he said in that video. And I correlate that with some of these anti-recasters. There was one person that came in and said, well, the reason that it makes sense and the reason I wouldn't support that is because it makes sense in the comics because T'Challa, I'm not quoting her verbatim, but because T'Challa dies in the comics. And when I tell you she stood on that shit, she stood 20 toes down on that shit and was told by multiple people, what comics are you reading? But it's a fault. She saw that hot take from someone else on Twitter, and she ran with it. And she started spitting it. I'm sure that's not the first time she said that. I'm sure if you went through her reply, she said that somewhere else in another Twitter thread, having another conversation. It's the being misinformed, talking about the legacy. If you gave a fuck about his legacy, you gave a fuck about Chadwick the Boseman the way you say you do, or the way even Marvel says they do, you would know, and I've said this before, and other recasters have said this before too, you would know there are plenty of videos out there of Chad stating what he would want that legacy to be. That he wanted people to see the role and not him. So when you come on Twitter and you're talking about legacy this and legacy that and what Chad wanted, pipe the fuck down. Pipe down. Because you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. It's not. You might be still stuck on that whole fake news that they gave us at the beginning, saying that it was about Chad's legacy. It was never about Chad's legacy. So I'm seeing all that on Twitter. Then it takes you to the Ray Stevens conversations, Ray. Is that his name? It's Ray Stevens that passed, right? Yes, Ray Stevens conversations playing Balin Skull. Since everybody likes to say, because I was told, well, you can't use the Joker one because that's not the same. It's not actually a recast because Joaquin Phoenix's Joker film is a different film and blah, 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 blah. Okay, fine. I'll let you have it. I could go deeper into it, but I'm going to let you have it. Explain Balin Skull, which I agreed that they needed to recast that character because whether it be Black Panther, I don't give a fuck if it's a goofy fucking movie with Mickey Mouse. If the character needs to be there and has been there, recast the character. Put that character in that property. So with Balin Skull, with Ray's passing, I always said, okay, but there's a current story being told with Balin. There's more to be told in season 2 with Balin. And I remember the conversations, people saying, well, do you stop the story? Do you do this? Do you do that? No, you don't stop the fucking story. You recast the character and you continue to tell the story. This is a fictional character. These are actors biting for jobs. So of course, you recast the character. You would do that with any show, any movie, anything. You do not ever let a character die with the actual actor, ever. What Ray Stevens did with Balin Skull, obviously this being a fresh new character introduced into the Star Wars universe, was brilliant. He was more interesting, in my opinion, than the overall, main character of Ahsoka. I mean, I love Ahsoka. But what they did with Balin, what Ray did with Balin, was great. But I'm not saying because it was so great, and because Ray's iteration transcends any iteration of Balin Skull, it's for that reason you don't no, you recast it. You recast the character. So it's no difference with Balin Skull. It's no different than any of that. So yeah, those are just some of my thoughts there on some of the scoops coming out for Black Panther 3 from Alex over at the Cosmic Circus. And again, grain of salt. But do I truly believe that is the route that they would go? Yes. Do I believe that's the route that they would go before pulling in a multiversal T'Challa and having that T'Challa be the mainstay T'Challa of the... Yes. Of course. Because they put so much into it. They told a story. Hell, for the entire promotion of Wakanda Forever, they doubled down and tripled down on why it was so important that they, Toussaint and all that shit. So I don't. I think that this is a story. I think that this is more realistic than the scoops or whatever else about bringing in a multiversal variant. Do I still think you may see a multiversal variant? Of course. Secret Wars. Supposed to see a lot of different variants of different characters and this and this and that. And T'Challa, I'm sure, is going to be one of them. But he's going to be dangled in your face. And he's going to be taken away after all the Secret War and everything is put back to normal and whatever. And you're going to be left with Toussaint. And Toussaint is going to be the stories, or carry rather, the stories forward in the Black Panther. And I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. But just looking at it pragmatically, where Marvel currently is, the stories they currently are wanting to tell, if Letitia Wright has had conversations with the MCU and Marvel Studios about the future of the Black Panther, obviously she has, I'm sure, sat down with them and talked about things that she's going to do as the current Black Panther in the MCU and other projects like Secret Wars, Avengers, at one point Brave New World when she was rumored to show up there, all that stuff. So I'm sure in between that, I'm sure maybe they've discussed Black Panther 3. Hell, maybe she's discussed with Ryan. Maybe they've talked about what they want. I don't know. But I'm telling you, I'm inclined to believe that more. But the question is for you guys. Let me know down below what you guys are thinking about the newest. I saw a lot of you guys' thoughts previously on Twitter, but let me know what you guys are thinking about the newest scoop from the Cosmic Circus about what's going on with Black Panther and Shuri being the one with Okoye and Nakia to single-handedly raise this son, this new king of Wakanda, this ruler without his father by his side. And I do want to say one more thing too. There were a lot of people that were saying that, T'Challa grows up in the MC or grows up in comics without his father, and it was his mother and the females that wrong. Stop spreading misinformation when it comes to this character. He was not only raised by his mother and some of those, he was also raised by his uncle. It was a collective group there that helped to raise that strong black male. It wasn't so there. It took a village, but it was not just the females in his life. So when you go and say, well, it's just like it's just like in the comics with T'Challa, you're wrong. You're wrong. Stop spreading misinformation. But again, let me know what you guys are thinking about this and all things Black Panther related with BP3, Shuri raising this child, and anything else down below. Let's see what you guys are saying. Let's see. Go back up to the top here. Damn, it's a lot here. Okay. Ooh, let's see. Okay, Raymond says, ass point. Let me write that down in my AAVE dictionary. Cornelia said, don't buy it. Rashad Walker said, so it's no T'Challa in any other universe. Makes no sense. That's that's my thing too. You're doing all these, even with Eyes of Wakanda, multiversal travel, time period dump. So there's just no T'Challa. Let's see. Cornelia said, glad for the voice actor and motion capture guy, but supporting these other projects helps to erase T'Challa on every medium, and that is very true. He said that's right. Use the word bastard. They hate it. No offense to those born to unmarried parents. Yeah, nobody's trying to make fun of growing up without someone's father, but that's literally what it is. That's literally what it is. That's what it is, and I support the saying. Pumali said they don't want black fathers, dads to be seen in the positive way. Andre said bastard is what the child is. They're just looking at that cute little boy who played the child, and they don't want us calling him bastard. I'm not, and see that's the thing too. First of all, don't be so dense. Why the fuck would I be going after Divine? Why would I go after the actor of Divine? Why would I go after that innocent child who is just playing a role, getting a bag for him and his family? Divine did not shit to me. Not shit. And I'm not calling Divine a bastard. So for anybody coming in here being dense enough to believe that I'm really calling this innocent child, or anybody is calling this innocent real kid a bastard, you're a dumbass. And the reason you're a dumbass is because it's like the people that have been on Cornelius's tweet saying it's really offensive when you call this character a bastard. The fictional character? Who's it offending? Who the fuck is it offending? Whose feelings are getting hurt when you are calling this fictional character a bastard? Was anybody hurt in House of Dragon when he yelled, those children are bastards? Did anybody say, oh, pause, hashtag fuck House of Dragon because they call... No, it's fiction. The same way y'all cling so fucking hard to T'Challa and being Chadwick Boseman, it's fiction. It's not real. So calling Toussaint the bastard child that he is does not hurt Divine's feelings. It does not affect Divine's bag that he got from Wakanda Forever. Divine's not on these spaces saying, mommy, they're out here calling. Divine's not worried about that. The only person being weird and connecting that fake shit to real shit is you weirdos online. That's it. So yeah, he is a bastard child. He's a bastard fictional child. Y'all are fucking weird connecting him to this real person. Let's see. Cornelia said they're trying to give T'Challa and the MCU BPIP a stereotypical African American narrative when it's supposed to be uncolonized country, and it's anti the spirit of BP comics and these casuals. Yep, I agree. Same thing, things I was pointing out earlier. It just does not make sense. Raymond said, I ain't grow up in a white town, but I had multiple men in my life, even though dad was absent, so I was pretty much taken care of. Now, my mother has siblings as well. She has two brothers, and my Uncle Mike, who my close cousins, I was always over there. So Uncle Mike was more so of my father figure, and the guy that my mom was dating was more so of the father figures in my life. Now, that's not to say I did not see my father. I did. It was sparingly. When he thought about me or gave a fuck to want to be in my life. But it's I had those father figures in my life too. But I still, I grew up in a white town. But don't get that confused. I did not grow up white. Rashad said, no way the MCU does this if Stan Lee was still with us. Black Claw said, it's always Black Panther. It's about the mantle until their favorite character is about to get sidelined. And yeah, we've seen that. Cornelia said the comment by Lupita was odd. They need therapy for real. I'm sorry. It's like a fetish. Raymond said Wakanda is what heaven looks like. Shoots arrow in the spirit. Andre said, will Kevin Feige do the impossible and recast T'Challa at SDCC? No. I'm going to tell you right now, anybody that's got fingers, toes, legs, arms crossed for any type of T'Challa, you won't even hear T'Challa at SDCC. Okay? That character is not getting mentioned publicly by Marvel Studios. The last time, it's just not. They talked about T'Challa. They said T'Challa's name because they were forced to say T'Challa's name when everybody was so worried about, well, why the fuck wasn't that T'Challa in X-Men 97? So then you had the director coming out fumbling over his words, talking about, well, it's not really canon because this wasn't, talking about shit he didn't know shit about. So, no, like, you're not gonna, no. Like, he's not doing that. And I don't want to rain on the SDCC parades, but if T'Challa's mentioned at SDCC, I'll get on stream and do some outlandish shit. If T'Challa is mentioned at any type of anything, yeah, we'll do some outlandish shit on stream, but I don't see that happening at all. Xavier said, Lord, please fix it. Come on, Feige. Raptor Cloak said, we all know good and well that they're going to kill Shuri or M'Baku to motivate TJ into becoming the Black Panther. Just more pointless Black Death. And here's my thing, too. So how is this supposed to go? Does M'Baku just agree that, even though he's been trying to get the throne, even though, him and T'Challa made amends before his death in the MCU and all that kind of stuff, are we to believe that M'Baku is just going to, I guess, is there some type of agreement off screen that, hey, when the child becomes old enough, you're just going to, without challenge, step down from the throne, that you've been, the ruler of Wakanda and you've gotten all this and, blah, 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 blah. Are we supposed to believe that he's going to be like, oh, here you go, kid that's not raised in Wakanda. You were raised in Haiti by, Nakia, who doesn't even live here any fucking more. You were also raised by Okoye, who is not a part, unless I don't remember. In Wakanda Forever, was she reinstated to I don't even really fucking care. Okoye, and then your sister, and then your aunt, who is neither the queen of Wakanda but the protector of Wakanda, but really doesn't want to be the protector of all that. So let me give the throne to this child who's not from here, who may have the blood of the king from here, but he's not from here. He wasn't raised here, and not only was he not raised here, he's coming from a broken family, and I don't know shit about this kid. But yeah, let me step down and give the entire nation of Wakanda to him real quick. I don't know how that pans out. Casino said BP2 was trash. Ark said Hollywood is still running on 2021 or 2001 program. Code hasn't been updated. Cornelius said Twitter said it's the greatest film ever. Yeah, Twitter. Yeah, people on Twitter just say shit. People just be talking just for the sake of fuck. People talk just for the sake because they can. I mean, you can on Twitter. You can say the most stupidest fucking outlandish. Like I said, the person. Yeah, you can say whatever you want on Twitter, and it's just like, yeah, people don't enjoy these conversations and just stupid shit. Xavier or Grand Regent Thrag said, and then let Namor just walk. Yeah. Xavier said, I've only seen it once as well. Raptor Cloak said, watching Wakanda Forever was like getting my wisdom teeth taken out. Once was enough. Right. Andre said, absolutely no rewatch value at all. Cornelius said, nah, they gonna make Namor the king of Wakanda. Rashad said, I've seen the first one at least 10 times. Never seen Wakanda or Wakanda Forever. Oh, you haven't seen it. Oh, no, don't waste your time. Raymond said, I'd rather watch Aretha Franklin's 24-hour funeral. At least they had church there, minus the trash eulogy. Cornelius said, merging land and water vibranium nations. Skip down here a little to Xavier. Well, actually, no, to Groovy. Said, I love how they dismiss Derek's comments about recasting, and they say they don't care what he said. He doesn't own Marvel. They will agree with cast and crew. Yeah, that's another one too. You know, I always forget to bring up Derek for whatever reason. That's one of the most useful pieces of. It's one of the most useful weapons to use when talking about recasting. That's his own brother, you know. His own brother has done, I think, 3 different interviews talking about that he's had conversations with his brother and knows what his brother would have wanted, and this is not what he would have wanted, and blah, 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 blah. But when you do present that to them, they're like, well, that doesn't matter. You know, he blah, 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 blah. Okay. Let's go down some. Mr. Idiotic said, I really, really want Kitty Pryde to be Tom Holland's Spidey new girlfriend in the MCU. You know, is Kitty Pryde going to be introduced? You know, they were talking about the X-Men that are coming up are supposed to be a different group. It's not supposed to be like the core group that is in X-Men 97 or whatever. It's supposed to be a new group. So maybe Kitty's in that group. Grand Region Thrag said, if they do this, I will become the biggest DC fan, and I mean it. I do want to talk about some DC stuff, but we'll get to that too. The Motivational Misfit said, no multiversal T'Challa, yet we saw 10 Lokis in one episode. Right. Jabari said, Lupita still fantasizes over Chadwick. That's her problem. Not Again 90 said, IDK, what the hell it is about the MCU and their black characters, but they just can't seem to give them the respect and push they deserve. And what pisses me off is they have the resources. Thank you so much for that, Super Andre. Means a lot. Andre said, have you seen the leading T'Challa in All Iterations video? And have you seen... No, I haven't seen Supercell yet. I am going to watch it, though. I've seen a lot of people talking about it. Actually, today, I saw a lot of people talking about it today, so I was like, let me check out Supercell, because I had seen people talking about it earlier, but really was like, I might not. But I'm going to check it out. Now, as far as the leading T'Challa in All Iterations video, I did see that video. I did. I got tagged in that video quite a bit, so I did check out that video and listen to it. And there were a lot of points that he made that I definitely agreed with, points that we've, a lot of us have said before. So I did see that video and agree with a lot of the things that he said. Let's see. Raptor Cloak said, why would TJ be king to begin with when his parents aren't married and they have less claim to any throne than Killmonger did? Yeah. Grand Region Thrag said, yeah, she was demoted, title taken from her. D-Sizzle said, if Boondocks was still around, they would have predicted this BS. Xavier said, I would love to see a Boondocks episode addressing T'Challa's debacle. Now, that would have been interesting. And Black Claw said, they're probably going to kill Nakia to motivate Junior. Cornelius said, when you mention Derek, they have to say what... when you mention Derek, they then say, what about Chadwick's widow? Though Simone took good care of Chadwick in the last few years, a wife in the early stages does not know you as well as your brother. Yeah, and her interview that she did, she was still grieving too. I'm sure she didn't want to say anything negative toward Marvel or to disrupt the ongoing current promoting that at the time that was Wakanda Forever. So, but who knows what she actually really thinks? Andre said, I've seen an anti-recaster say that Nakia and T'Challa were married. Yeah, well, again, that's that MCU knowledge. But yeah, that's that. So now we'll move here to the other thing, the Deadpool. So some of the stuff with Deadpool, they were so very quick, because like I said, I don't want to there's no spoilers on Deadpool. I'm even myself not trying to be spoiled by Deadpool. I want to sit down and be surprised. I know Sabretooth's in that trailer, did not watch it, haven't seen the pictures, don't care to see him. I want to just be shocked when I sit down. The new trailer that they just released, the one over in China or whatever, or Tokyo, wherever it was, that was upgraded and with a new coloration, cool. Don't want to see it. I'm good. I want to be surprised when it comes to Deadpool. Now, some of the things though, it's really hard to to not see some things as far as, now pictures I'm not seeing, but when it comes to like some of the things that people are just saying on Twitter, it's hard not to see those, especially when I have notifications coming in from some of these pages that do scoops and things like that. So, but what we know is that it was in Shanghai. That's where it was. 30 to 40 minutes of Deadpool was shown in Shanghai. And the description of it was, and again, some of this might be spoiler details, so if you don't want to know, you can jump out really quick. But it says, overall, very violent and funny, great action sequences, great score, and some very emotional scenes. Another part says, has a very violent connection with the end of Logan, which I thought Logan was not going to be touched, but that was a lie. Many variants of Logan appear, including a zombie version, and we know that one of the versions is going to be played by Henry Cavill. I think Patch is played by Daniel Radcliffe, rumored wise, and we're supposed to be seeing a few other versions of Wolverine. Many jokes about Fox and Disney, many cameos. Seems like the scenes we saw in the trailers are only the first 40 minutes of the film. And it felt like a combination of the feelings of Avengers Endgame and the nonsense of Deadpool. And then this came out. This is from My Time to Shine Hello, and some of the other people were collaborating this. Fuck My Time to Shine Hello, by the way. I don't do that person anymore. And I don't care to elaborate. But Deadpool, or she had said, or he, she, whatever the fuck, had said over there that, and a lot of other people corroborated this that had seen the 30 to 40 minutes of it, that Deadpool and Wolverine will show Deadpool traveling the multiverse in search of a Wolverine variant that could help him. He encounters one that's about to clash with the Hulk, and it is Mark Ruffalo's Hulk. But before anything can happen, Hulk grabs Deadpool and throws him back into the portal that he came from. And that's been going, that's, if you've seen, unless you've been under a rock, that's been everywhere as far as like Hulk versus Wolverine. There's been the edits of Mark Ruffalo's Hulk, fighting or Hugh Jackman's Wolverine and all that kind of stuff, video edits, all that. People are really wanting that. Now, if that is something that's in the film, I really truly do believe it is in the film, just because it's, very much plays into what they're trying to do with Deadpool. It's not so much playing on to like a long scene or anything like that, but it's a cool little like, hey, it's here, you're not gonna get to see it, but boom. It's very, just plays into, to me, what they're doing with this film. So I think we'll see a lot of different things like that, cameos or whatever. But some of the official properties, or here are some of the Marvel properties that are confirmed to be canon post Deadpool and Wolverine. So we know that Wesley Snipes' Blade is supposed to obviously be in this, or rumored to be in this, and not just a cameo. Wesley Snipes' Blade is supposed to be playing a bigger role in the film. The Fantastic Four, Rise of Silver Surfer, so that cast, the cast is in both of them. I don't believe it's, grain of salt on that one. I don't know. At one point we heard that Alba and the whole cast was in it. At one point we heard it was just Evans. At one point we heard that Alba's not interested or wasn't it. I don't know. So if it is the Fantastic Four, we'll see what it's going to be. Punisher variants are supposed to be seen. X-Men original 2000s team obviously supposed to be seen. X-Men reboot, Days of Future Past, and the New Mutants. And all these properties are supposed to be canon after Deadpool and Wolverine. Whatever events happen in there are going to make those events canon. And then the other big thing, the last thing here involving this, is what we've talked about before. And I feel like this really isn't news. I feel like everybody should know this, and I don't know if it's going to happen in Deadpool or the next project or the next project. But Robert Downey Jr. is coming back to the MCU, and he's going to be portraying not the Iron Man that sacrificed himself in Endgame, but a different variant of Iron Man. And it was rumored that he was going to it's rumored that they think he's going to be portraying superior version of Iron Man or something like that. Something like was rumored in Multiverse of Madness with Tom Cruise. But don't really know exactly where Robert Downey Jr. is going to be popping up next. But it was rumored from Daniel RPK, and this was rumored long before this 2 weeks ago, because that rumor earlier on had to do with Tobey Maguire, Hugh Jackman, and Robert Downey Jr. in a post-credit scene for Deadpool, because we do know that Mr. Aziz, or whatever I think it was Mr. Aziz. Yes, Mr. Aziz from Spider-Man 2, where Tobey Maguire Tobey Spider-Man worked at the pizza, delivering the pizzas. That same pizza shop and Mr. Aziz are rumored to be in a post-credit scene or a scene within Deadpool. And in that scene, we were supposed to see Deadpool, and this was a while ago, so it could be fuzzy on it. Deadpool, Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, and Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man. And I don't know if they were having a conversation, if it was Secret Wars related or something like that. I don't remember the exact details of it, but that was rumored a while back. So hearing that they were trying to put Robert Downey Jr. in, because what Daniel RPK said was they were trying to get him in, but it did not pan out. So the exact words were that he was supposed to cameo in a particular post-credit scene, but it didn't work out. It was supposed to serve as both a build-up to Secret Wars and a payoff to another scene that is still in the film, which I won't spoil. Which that's what he said there. So, do I think that Robert Downey Jr. is going to still show up in a post-credit scene in Deadpool? Maybe, maybe not. Do I think that he's going to show up in a post-credit scene at some point in some property? Yes, I do, because it's Secret Wars. If we're building the multiversal saga, these characters have to be coming back. And then you take yourself back a month and a half or two ago with all the talk that Robert Downey Jr. was doing, where he was saying, if Kevin Feige asked me to come back, I would in a drop of a hat. I miss being in the trenches with Feige in the MCU and crafting those stories and all that kind of stuff that he was saying in those interviews. So, it's not a secret. Nobody really should be surprised if you hear that Chris Evans, if you hear that Scarlett Johansson, or if you hear, like, when people are going crazy, oh my God, Wesley Snipes is in. Well, yes, it's the multiversal saga. All these characters, all of these past characters from before the MCU was the MCU, when the MCU became the MCU, all of these characters that we haven't even seen yet. It's Secret Wars. It's the multiverse. So I know they have not done a good job of building that up. But if it really is that, don't be surprised with any of the characters that you're supposed to be hearing about seeing. So this never shocked me when they were talking about Robert Downey Jr. being in Deadpool as a post-credit scene as Iron Man. I do believe that. And the last thing is Deadpool and Wolverine is projected to gross between $160 million and $165 million during the opening weekend in its domestic box office, making it the highest ever for a rated R film in 2024. And that just goes back to what we've been saying about what I've been saying. I know others have disagreed in the comments, but this is going to be a billion-dollar film for sure, without question. They are really doing a good job on the marketing for this. I still think they're showing a lot too much. I know you got to boost it up for the casuals and get people back in there, but it's definitely going to do the numbers. It's going to do the numbers. So if you're excited for Deadpool, that does come out July 26th, and we are now weeks away from Deadpool, and I'm pretty excited for it. I'm ready to see it. We are going to be seeing it that Thursday night. SDCC is also that weekend, so I will be covering SDCC that weekend with you guys. We'll be live for SDCC, and we will also be covering Deadpool that next day. So let me know down below in the comments if you're going to see Deadpool. Is it something that you care about? I know some people have said that they don't care, they're not going to go see it, but I think Deadpool is going to be a fun film in the MCU, so I'm ready to see some of the things that happen in it. But let me know what you guys are thinking down below. Let's see. Not much on Deadpool, because again, not much really people looking into it. I'm still excited for Deadpool. Still very excited for Deadpool. Some of the other things, though, that I did want to go over quickly, just some of these bookmark things. I don't know if anybody saw this, but Spider-Man Noir is still taking place and is still going to be happening over at Sony. It's a live-action series that's going to be starring Nicolas Cage as Spider-Man Noir, and the villain, Brendan Gleeson, as the villain, codenamed The Monster. He's going to feature in, and this is coming from Daniel RPK, not from Marvel Studios or Sony themselves, from Daniel RPK. I forget, yes, the thing I most know him for is his role as, is it Agamemnon, in Troy? He's the one that had his bitch stole from him by Prince Paris. Yes, so that's where I know him from. I love Troy, love that movie. So it's just when I saw his face, I immediately went there, and for me, that's a good sign because I really love that movie. And I thought his acting in that movie was great too. So I think that whatever they're doing with Spider-Man Noir and him as the villain, that's going to be pretty interesting. Maybe I think, and Nicolas Cage, it's Nicolas Cage portraying this character. And it's Spider-Man. It's not the Spider-Man. It's Peter Parker, but it's not, our Peter Parker that we're normally used to. But at least Sony's doing something with Spider-Man. So I'm pretty interested to see what this series is going to look like. Let's see, what else? What If? Brad Winterbaum talks about season 3 What If, and where he says it will be the conclusion of a trilogy, and it will take us places that you would never expect, going beyond the first 2 seasons and exploration of the multiverse. The season brings together characters that are very unexpected. I think he did this. Was this on the Marvel Studios official podcast or something else? I don't know where he did this on, but it's a Spotify link where he talked about all this. What If Season 3, we really don't know much about either, outside of what I've told you about the rumor of Storm wielding Mjolnir in the series, and there's supposed to be an episode surrounded around her. I think Loki is going to show up in the series as the god of stories, since he is the god of stories now, or whatever the fuck that is. So he's going to be doing all that. And all of this is supposed to tie together for What If. And if you're a What If fan, that's great. I don't think I even watched season 2. I did watch some of season 3, but not season 2, or season 1, but not season 2. House of the fucking Dragon, though. If you are a House of the Dragon fan, House of the Dragon has been phenomenal. Phenomenal. I know some people might say, well, this last episode was really slow, and yeah, the episode 2 wasn't as fast either, but one of the things about House of the Dragon and Game of Thrones is, to me, these shows can thrive even without showing the dragons all the time, or without having the action all the time. You're getting action in these, but you're not getting it fully because they're still building that story, still building to that Dance of the Dragons. And if you know that story, and if you know how that goes, and again, I wasn't privy to any of this before I watched season 1 of House of Dragon, but because I'm one of those addictive personality people, when I really love something, I study that shit. I have studied I've studied the dance. I know what's happening. I know what's going to happen. I know who these characters are. And, I know. So I really am looking forward to this. House of the Dragon, this should have been a topic. House of the Dragon is, without question, still one of the best shows on streaming. And I know that's not getting the same numbers that season 1 got, but I think that's a streaming issue in general, because there are streaming shows that just aren't getting the views like that, like they have been. But I think as word of mouth continues for House of Dragon, I believe that it'll continue to boost and things like that. But the characters, the stories, everything being told in House of Dragon right now is great. I did not particularly care, like everybody else, for season 1, episode 1, the way they did Blood and Cheese, that story of, just killing Jaehaerys instead of killing both of them, and all that kind of stuff. I thought that possibly would have been, if you're going to do it, show it, do it, go all in on it. And so I'm hoping that there's other things that aren't really changed that much. And one of the things I was particularly talking about today was how Aegon is crippled with, if you know the fight between Aegon that he has with his dragon with Sunfire, and I believe it's with Rhaenys and Meleys. Meleys perishes with Rhaenys, but Aegon also does not come out of that fight unscathed. His armor is melted to his skin from the heat of the dragon fire. Sunfire is also hurt and dying. Doesn't die immediately, but is dying. So I'm hoping that when they do the whole thing with Aegon and you see him get his armor melted and fused to his, I want to see what that's going to look like, because the scene that they did with the young Rhaenyra sewing Jaehaerys's head back to his body with Daemon watching, that shit was, it's good. Like, House of Dragon is great. That's what I was saying was, you don't, for me, House of Dragon carries itself with the dialogue alone, with the storytelling and the politics of it all too. You don't always have to have the dragons. The dragons are dope as fuck. I want to see these dragons. I want to see the dance. But I've been okay with these last 2 episodes. I've been okay with the dialogue. I've been okay with the building. I've been okay with the politicalness around it all. You know, the behind the back stabs. I've been okay with all of that because it's building to the story that is going to blow people away. And from what they've said, episode 4, and if you know, again, you know the story, episode 4 is going to, I believe, this is the episode where Meleys and Rhaenys are going to perish. So we are going to see our first death. We're going to see our first big battle from the dance and things like that. So it's going to get really, really, really real here coming up. And and one of my favorite parts, we're talking dialogue, about this last episode was the conversation between Alicent and Rhaenyra, where Rhaenyra realized, hold the fuck up, this whole time, it was a misunderstanding. My father actually said those words, the prince that was promised. And when Alicent said yes, he said those words, when even Alicent realized, oh shit, did I fuck up? Was he not talking about our dumbass fucking son Aegon? No, he was always talking about Rhaenyra, you know, telling her the story that is shared between the Targaryen, well, some of the Targaryens and things like that. So it's like, yeah, you know, and then Alicent saying there was no mistake, and then you see Rhaenyra's face change from, you know, she was trying to avoid bloodshed, she was trying to avoid battle and the dragons burning everything, but when Alicent said there's no mistake, there's nothing to discuss, there's nothing, you see Rhaenyra's face turn from, okay, fuck us talking about it, fuck us trying to mend this shit. You willingly know that you fucked up, and now you're continuing to, no, fuck that. So let's burn it, Dracarys. Burn it all to the ground. As I've been saying from the beginning, because if it were me, the minute Lucerys was killed, it's all out war. Bitch, I got more dragons than you too. And that might not be, you might be thinking, oh, Darius, you were a terrible king, a terrible tyrant. Burn that shit to the ground, because what's burnt to the ground can be re-fucking built. If I can get these adversaries out of my way, kill them all. Kill them all. Family or not, kill them all. I said in season 1, like Daemon told Rhaenys in this season, you fucked up by not burning them all to a crisp when they had you fucking locked up. And like, I agree with Rhaenys, because Rhaenys is my favorite character in the show. I agree with Rhaenys. That wasn't my battle to start. That's between you motherfuckers and you trying to be usurped and all that type of shit. That's not between me. I'm not going to start a war that's not mine to start. And as she said in this last episode, there is no bloodier battle than a blood between kin. And there is no bloodier battle between a blood between kin than between dragons. So it's about to get real. It's about to get real. We're about to see a lot of heads roll. Yeah, I'm a big fan of House of Dragons, and I'm excited for some of the other spinoffs that's coming. You know, of course, with the Aegon the Conqueror series, that's the one that I'm really, really looking forward to. So if you are on any other team besides Rhaenyra's, you're in the wrong chat. If you are Team Black, you're not like us. I can't fuck with you, because that is the wrong team to be on. They usurped fucking Rhaenyra's throne from her. Otto has been playing some wicked fucking dirty games. Alicent's bitch ass ain't innocent either. She's been playing some dirty ass feet fucking games with the little mole. All that shit, bro. Like it's no. So Team Rhaenyra all the way. And not only that, you know, I think too that Rhaenyra should have kept that anger. Not people popping fireworks already. She should have kept that anger as far as like when the anger she had at the end of season 1 when the camera's zooming out on her face. And yes, she's grieving. You know, she only had 3 words in episode 2. I want Daemon Targaryen. Because she was grieving, that she had to see for herself. You know, she had to see her son's body for herself. Like, I really lost my son. But from there, No, she didn't tell Damon to go kill. And Damon had one job, bro. He had one job. She said, kill. I want Aegon. And he said, and the rat, Cheese asked him, if we can't find Aegon? What was that? Hold on, because I might have to beat T'Challa's ass. My dog, T'Challa, you want to talk about a recast T'Challa? That motherfucker is going to get recasted. For real, for real. He's going to get the fuck out this house. He's getting on my... He has been so bad lately. So bad lately. Was that him? What they did? Oh, under the door. He's been so bad lately. I put him in my bathroom the other day. Tore up the whole fucking panel on, like... No, it ain't the kitty. It ain't the cats. It's my dog, T'Challa. It's my dog. It's, yeah. Yeah, it's him. But anyway, House of Dragon, dope as shit. Definitely should be watching if you're not watching. I wonder, would we get copyrighted if I watch this trailer? You know, if we do, we're probably just gonna fuck it out. But it's only 49 seconds, and I want to see it again anyway, so fuck off if you don't. You know, another part that made me mad, bro? I forget her name. When she saw Sir Kristen Cole with his little group with Allison's brother, when they were going to the Riverlands and all that kind of stuff, bro. If she had them. I forget her. What's her dragon's name? God, what's her dragon's name? I forget her dragon's name. It's Cyrax's son though. I forget her dragon's name. But I don't know why we have not said Dracarys. All she had to do, she had them. I don't care if they went in the trees. Burn the fucking trees. Dracarys. If I had a dragon, that's my favorite word if you piss me off. Like, there's no way. There's no way. I have a dragon. Fuck you. I have a dragon. So I think that I was like, damn, bro, she should have killed them. But yeah, no, the dance is about to begin, like Gray said. Now, back in 2022, I guess Matt Damon showed... Is this season 1 that he was talking about?
Yeah. Trevor.
That's for season 1. No damn season 2, dumbass. Yeah. So then they said this person said episode 4 of House of Dragon believed to be titled Dance of the Dragons is one of the best episodes of television I've seen in a long time. If you've been considering watching this season, this is the week to get caught up so you don't risk getting spoilers. Absolutely epic. Whew, yeah, bro, that's gonna be good. And it's a breath of fresh air from the fucking Acolyte. The Boys is great. I think The Boys is really good right now. I'm so ready for this episode tomorrow with The Boys. The Boys is really, really good also. But the Acolyte is just dog shit on the ground. I don't know what is with Leslie Headland and everybody in this show with the nudity in Star Wars. Why is there so much goddamn nudity? Like, these are the things I'm thinking about in Acolyte. I promise you, as a Star Wars fan, as someone who is, if you've been here, you know this, I'm a bigger Star Wars fan than any of this shit. I've never thought about some of the things I'm thinking about in the Acolyte. I've never thought about, like, nudity in Star Wars. I've never thought about sexuality in Star Wars. I've never thought about, like, race like that in the things I'm thinking about politically about it's just not Star Wars. It's just not Star Wars. I shouldn't be having these side thoughts about, like, I don't know. For me personally, as a Star Wars fan, I've never thought these things. I've never thought these things in a galaxy far, far away. Like, it's terrible. It's awful. The entire, like, and I think I said this episode 1. I don't care. I'm saying it even harder now. Amandla Steinberg, she's not a good actress to me. And maybe she's just not a good actress in this arena. But in the Star Wars, I do not like her. I am a Ray fan before I am a Osha or May fan. And that's not me hating on this show, because I'm not like these other people out here hating on the show for the political reasons that some people are hating on the show. I'm hating this show simply because it doesn't feel like Star Wars. I'm hating the show because of the shit that I've watched and the 5 episodes we've gotten with 2 episodes left. And that episode that was the last episode was just shit on the ground. I'm hating this show because the acting is shit. I'm hating this show because the storytelling is shit. I'm hating this show because you said it's a $180 million budget. I haven't seen that shit. It's unremarkable as fuck. This show it's terrible. It's breaking canon, and it doesn't have to break canon for me personally, because I don't have to put this show in my head canon. In my head canon, this is not canon. So in my Star Wars timeline, in my head, this shit doesn't exist. It doesn't exist at all. So it's the entire show. I will give them this, though. As I said, episode 5 or 4 with the fight scenes, great. That was some of the best Star Wars choreographies, lightsaber fighting I had seen in a long time. In a long time from Star Wars. Definitely with any of the Disney Plus shows. It was great. The fighting was great. But the story within the fighting, I still didn't like. The acting within the fighting, I still didn't like. What's his name? The master, the Sith with the Quimire or whatever the fuck. I don't care. I didn't like. Awful. I think the storyline between Osha and May, it's stupid. I tell you this: you take Osha and May, you take them and you throw them the fuck over there. That show still sucks. But it still makes sense without them. You don't need them in this story for this shit to make sense at all. They're irrelevant. Amanda Steinberg's acting, I think, is just completely awful. I don't know if her and Daphne Keane were in the same training rooms when training to hold a lightsaber, but every time she picks up a lightsaber and holds it like this, or holds it like her stances, her acting, her everything around it is terrible. Then let's get to Ventura. Oh my lord! You finally get Ventura out there on the screen in the forest with the scene that you teased in every trailer of her whipping out the lightsaber whip was her killing a goddamn beetle. Now, granted, there's 2 episodes left. I'm sure we might see her whip the motherfucker out and really use it. I don't know. But the scene that you teased and built up was her whipping it out because she's having a conversation with another Jedi, and there's a beetle coming out of the tree, and she whips it out, slashes it, and puts that shit back up. That's the scene that you built. Then you've got Soul not being able to know the difference between Osha and May. And I've seen the argument from some people saying, well, you can't say that because the entire Jedi Council didn't know that Palpatine was sitting right in front of them. Are we comparing the abilities that Palpatine had to shroud to put the shroud of the dark side and cloud the Jedi's vision during the entirety of the Clone Wars, during Phantom Menace and all that? Are we comparing that to Osha and May? That's different. That's different. And the reason I say that's different is because you've got Soul who trained who? Osha? I think it was Osha who trained Osha. So if him training Osha from that time that we saw those little terrible actors in episode 2 or 3 being raised to be whatever with a Padawan as Soul, the relationship between a master and his Padawan is very different. Because I can damn sure tell you, if Obi-Wan, if there was some type of mix-up with Anakin or whatever the fuck, he would know the difference between Anakin and whoever the fuck else. Same with Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan. Qui-Gon would know the difference between Obi-Wan and someone else. So we're not going to sit here and compare Palpatine, the Lord of the Sith, who destroyed all the Jedi and actually did the plan that every Sith had been trying to do, his forefathers before him had been trying to do, he actually accomplished. We're not comparing that man who cheated death with Osha and goddamn May. And we're not comparing him with the Master or whoever the fuck else. No. This show is awful. It is awful. Awful. $180 million. Carrie Ann Moss ain't done shit. $180 million. You only got 2 episodes left, and we saw the power of 1, the power of 2 with these damn witches. $180 million, you used a Wookiee, and we've not seen the Wookiee do shit. The Wookiee yelled at 2 people passing too close to his hut. And then the next time we saw him was with a lightsaber slash. $180 million, and you couldn't give us a badass fighting scene between the Master and the Wookiee? At this point with Star Wars and their shows, I don't know. I don't know, because everybody swore up and down, yo, bro, this is different. This is the High Republic. This is the era this is completely away from the Skywalker saga. They can't mess anything up. How do you... Lucasfilm and Kathleen Kennedy said, hold my fucking beer. Let us fuck this shit up for you too. I have zero faith in any other IPs that Star Wars is doing under Disney's direction. Not just Disney, Kathleen as well. I love Star Wars. I will never stop loving Star Wars. I'm gonna still watch the next series or whatever else comes out because I'm just that big of a Star Wars fan. I'm that meme of the clown mask going over my face every time I press play on a Disney Plus Star Wars show. But I have zero faith. I have zero faith in anything they're doing. I'm more interested now in this Rey movie because the Acolyte has pushed me more toward like, damn, maybe I judged you too harshly. Fuck. Maybe you actually aren't that bad of a character. Osha and Mayus diminishing what Anakin is. You got Ki-Adi-Mundi talking about, in Phantom Menace, the Sith have been dead for millennia, but nope, he was privy to a Sith master, or whoever the fuck, a Sith Lord, whatever he is, massacring all these Jedi in the Forest. And that's another thing. Why is everything in the motherfucking forest? $180 million and everything's in the forest? What? It's like, and there's always a beast. There's always, and I get it, it's Star Wars Galaxy, raw, get that shit. But there's always some type of little bear. Or, that's another thing. Sorry, now I'm bringing up bears. That little chipmunk bear thing that's running around with Soul. How did that thing that doesn't have the Force, how did that fucking chipmunk know that wasn't Osha before Soul knew that wasn't Osha? Because Soul has the Force. What was it, the instinct of the animal? Like, it's just, bro. I tried to give Acolyte a chance. I really did. I tried to give the Acolyte a chance. It's a awful. It is dog shit. And I'm very curious how they're going to wrap these next 2 episodes. There's 2 episodes left. And I saw someone say on Twitter, do you think that we're going to get a season 2? I don't think I can put into words. I don't think I can articulate why there shouldn't be a season 2. I really don't think I have the words to articulate to you why there should not be a season 2. It's baffling to me. And I'm sure, just like with episode 8, Rian Johnson's episode 8, because if you go back to a lot of those interviews that Kathleen Kennedy and Lucasfilm were doing around the time of The Last Jedi, they were saying, this is the best thing we've done. We've never done anything like this. This is gonna... It was the most divisive Star Wars film to date. This, The Acolyte, is the most I've ever seen the Star Wars fandom connected, because they are collectively shitting on this project. Collectively, everyone, even people that aren't really Star Wars fans like that. I had one of my friends he's a Star Wars fan, but he's not a big Star Wars fan like that. Called me and said, "What is this?" And I was like, I don't know. I mean, it's so no, there should be no season 2. There shouldn't have been a season 1. I don't know. I don't know. I really truly don't. Any theory I had about Palpatine showing up, or I'm sorry, Plagueis showing up, or Tenebrous showing, I don't have those theories. Hell, Leslie Headland might be the Sith. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. And his motivation too. This Sith Master's motivation. Like when Soul asked him, "What do you want?" "I want a pupil." What the fuck are we doing? Like, all Sith want to a pupil. You know, that's the nature of the Sith. They have their apprentice. They teach their apprentice everything they know, and then the apprentice kills them. I mean, you've seen it time and time and time and time again in Star Wars. It happens. I don't know what his motivation is, and there's 2 episodes left, and that's just like, that's weird, so strange. You still don't know what this motherfucker's motivation is with 2 episodes left. 2 episodes left. Osha's doing whatever the fuck she's doing. May's doing whatever the fuck she's doing. Their little dyad force shit doesn't even still make sense. We still have yet to see the High Council, even though they've mentioned it twice. They keep saying, oh, we need to talk with the High Council. We need to talk. Yeah, that's another thing. I know I'm going. How the fuck are you making all these decisions without consulting the High Council? Before Anakin even wanted to just go campaign to fight to go to Utapau, he had to ask the Council. And what did Mace Windu say? The Council will make up its own decision about who goes, not the Chancellor. So how the fuck is Saul Ventura and all these other Jedi Knights just running around making all these goddamn executive decisions talking about, oh, we're going to go do this, or we're going to send a team to do this? No one has consulted unless it's been off camera. Actually, I believe it has been off camera. Ventura has said, I need to discuss this with the Council. We've not seen the Council. And if the Council's making these decisions, they're more reckless than the Council from the Phantom Menace that told Qui-Gon, oh, you're lying. You didn't see a Sith. But take this kid and go handle some shit in Naboo. No, like... So in my head canon, fuck Acolyte. It's not real. It doesn't exist. None of this is happening in the canon of my head canon of Star Wars. None of this exists. It's not real. It didn't happen. Osha who? May went where? Yeah. So it's not real. So that's my whole spiel there on what I collectively think of the Acolyte. It is shit. It is shit. It is shit. And Leslie Heslin said today, because she got asked about the review bombing, she said, well, if you're a Star Wars, if you're in the, it doesn't even matter, because I don't even remember the quote verbatim for what she said. It was a bunch of bullshit. It was a bunch of bullshit, corporate ass bullshit. She knows behind the cameras and behind that question, she is actually, you know what? I've seen some people saying that this is purposeful. This might have been the achievement. This might have been, hey, high five, we did it. Because why else would you put Ki-Adi-Mundi in there to know about the Sith, but then knowing in Phantom Menace that he's the one that tells them the Sith have been dead for a millennia? Like, it's the purposeful shit like that. It's to piss fans off, bro. It's just like, I'm good. They can keep it. Positive things, though. Superman looks dope. Is anybody happy for Superman? I know a lot of people still don't like the suit, but I think that once we get the suit in post-production and see things like that, I think maybe it'll be okay. I don't mind the suit. I like the suit. I think... Now, here's my question, too. This was asked to me earlier, and I didn't think about this, but now I am. Why is everyone in leather? Why is everyone in leather? You've got Mr. Terrific in leather. You've got a terrible Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner, and I do not like this. In his leather, I saw people comparing Hot Girl's outfit to Hawkman from, what is that movie, Black Adam, and how it was a downgrade and this and that. I do like this video of Soups running out and all the little kids, It's very Superman. I think that's pretty cool. The behind the scenes photos we have been seeing, though, I mean, it doesn't look bad to me. I do agree, though. I'm not the biggest fan of this. I am not. I do want to see her with the wings. I'm not the biggest fan of this. I hope that in production and post it all looks better, but I'm not the biggest fan of that. We also know that Millie Alcott is also in, where are they at? Are they in Ohio? Yes, I believe. Also in Ohio, she filmed her post-credit scene because Kara is going to be in the film as Supergirl, but she is not going to be in there until the post-credit scene, as that's what's rumored. So she'll be in the post-credit scene, rumored that she was already in Ohio filming for that post-credit scene. So they're trying to get a lot of this knocked out, and again, are we trusting James Gunn? Do we think that James Gunn is going to deliver a great film? Remember, this is coming out the exact same time as Fantastic Four. So it's going to be competing with the Fantastic Four. Are we still thinking that the Superman film is going to trump the Fantastic Four? Are we thinking that Fantastic Four is going to trump the Superman film? But And I really don't know. I think that the things that we have seen though from Superman, the behind the scenes photos and things have been pretty cool. Pretty cool. I like it. I like it. The clunkiness of whatever, just all of it. It looks cool. There was another video of showing Kal-El walking through everyone and people looking like they were yelling at him or afraid of him or whatever the fuck's going on there. But yeah, Superman does not look bad. Let's see. Not again 97, not feeling the leather suits for the Justice Force or whatever the team is. Grand Region Flag said he thinks, I agree, he thinks Fantastic Four might have more people interested. I low-key agree to that. I tired of the fence, bro, because Superman it's Superman, you know? It's Superman. And not only that, not only is it Superman, you've got all these other dope DC characters showing up in it. I don't know. It's tough. I do believe that this is going to be a good Superman film. I really do. I've been championing for this from the beginning, though. I've been saying that I think Superman's going to be great, and I want it to be great. I think David Cornsweet was the perfect pick for Supes. So I'm really excited for this. Do I think that it gets Fantastic Four? I don't know. I'm champion for it, but do I think it gets Fantastic Four? I don't know. Well, some other things about, Spider-Man 4, at least. We know that Scorpion is going to be in it, but that's been rumored for a long time. Shit. Is this man still in prison? That's been rumored for a long time. He's supposed to be working with Kingpin. There were some other things that Miles Morales is supposed to be showing up. We knew that too. Spider-Man 4 is going to begin filming January 6, 2025 in LA. Rumored. We don't know that. Rumored plot points for Spider-Man 4 include the introduction of Venom and Miles Morales to the MCU. Additionally, Spider-Man may team up with Daredevil to confront Kingpin. Production to start beginning 2025. And again, we've covered a lot of that stuff. We've talked about how Kingpin was going to be the mayor of New York City. That's going to take place within the Daredevil Born Again series. We'll see that play out more in Spider-Man. It is also rumored that off-screen, so between the time that we saw Matt Murdock and Spider-Man in No Way Home, there's been events happening in New York off-screen, and Spider-Man and Daredevil have worked together since then. So when we see Daredevil in Spider-Man 4, they are going to know each other. They've worked with each other previously on other things or ran into each other in New York, so they do know each other. So it's not going to be like a, hey, who are you type of deal. They already do know each other, and that is rumored. So we'll see how that works out with Spider-Man 4. George Clooney has been approached, and again, this is coming from my time, has been approached by MCU to joining the MCU. And the only thing I could think of was possibly maybe an Iron Man variant or maybe a Reed Richards variant or something like that. I don't know who else, you really have Clooney play in the MCU, or maybe you give him a list character to portray, but a grain of salt because it is coming from my time to shine. Hello. Other things about Spider-Man 4 they said here is that this is where they said Spider-Man and Daredevil, who would already have met each other in unseen events prior to the movie, but don't know each other's identities yet. If true, this means that they would have been met between the events of Born Again and Spider-Man 4. This is one I wanted to talk about in a separate video. I'm going to do a separate video over this, just talking about Marvel's animated shows and how they're wanting to do more animated shows and what the potential. Again, they're not going to do one. They're not doing a Black Panther show, but what the potential of a Black Panther show could have been when Larry Hughes was talking about it and talking about what he wanted to do for it. But he didn't give much insight on it. But I'm just going to kind of craft around that, what that could look like if big if, and with a slash not happening, a Black Panther animated series would look like. Let's see. And see, when we're talking about, I'm sorry to go back to Acolyte, but this is Acolyte right here. Manny, I don't want to fuck your last name up, said that when he was crafting the Sith Master character he's playing, he drew inspiration. I'm not even going to read the second one because I stopped at the first one. He drew inspiration from Johnny Depp's Captain Jack Sparrow. So you're telling me, Jesus Christ, you are telling me that when you got the role as a Sith Master, as a Sith Lord, your first thought was, let me go watch Pirates of the Caribbean. And let me watch Captain Jack Sparrow, Johnny Depp, drunk ass, the whole film, walking around like this, and love, and that's your inspiration for a Sith? So it's no wonder that his Sith acts the way he does. It's no wonder he makes the comments and the quirky. It's no wonder, because he's drawing inspiration from Captain Jack fucking Sparrow to be a Sith Lord. So yeah, I would have accepted Barbossa before I accepted Captain Jack Sparrow. Captain Jack is where you got your drunken Sith Lord persona from? That's terrible. That's awful. That's almost as bad as the dude that played Yord talking about, well, Anakin blew up the Death Star. Oh, yeah, that's awful. The first trailer for Agatha All Along will reportedly be released this month. Marvel Studios is said to have already prepared the trailer for San Diego Comic-Con, and I do believe that strongly. Agatha's done. They are very, very high on Agatha. They think that this shit is going to knock it right out the fucking park. So I do believe that we're going to see our first trailer for Agatha All Along at San Diego Comic-Con. They say that it's supposed to have horror aspects. It's a very scary show, what Brad Winterbaum said. And when he says scary, it is MCU scary. I think that's what he said. It's very MCU scary, and who knows what the fuck that means. So, they say it's scary. They say it's this and this and that. Where is the quote that he said? I don't know where I'll find it. But that's Agatha All Along is coming. And again, I don't want to make it seem like I'm not interested in it, because I am. And the reason I am is because it still plays on that magic side of things. I love magic. Again, American Horror Stories Coven is my favorite season. You start dealing with witches, if it's done right, and magic, that shit can be really cool. Now, this is the MCU we're talking about. This is not American Horror Story, so I'm not expecting those type of themes at all. But we will see exactly what Agatha's going to be. But they say it's going to be scary. Obviously, you got Joe Locke back there playing one of Wanda's children, the Demiurge himself, Wiccan. And we know that I think that his boyfriend is going to be in it, which is going to be Hulkling. So we should see some of that and some other things. So that is what's going on with Agatha. We'll see how that goes. Rumored is for Ironheart that Ghost Rider is going to show up and be referenced by Mephisto. I don't care. I really don't. Let's see. Charlie Cox praised Marvel for being incredibly open-minded. Isn't that fun when they can be incredibly open-minded with your IP? Incredibly open-minded, willing to adjust their course, and highly supportive during the reworking of Daredevil Born Again. That's crazy. So during Daredevil Born Again, that Marvel Studios was so supportive. They were willing to adjust and make course corrections and all this kind of stuff, and be as supportive and whatever they wanted, and to making Daredevil fit into the MCU and all that kind of stuff. It's crazy though, that same support and adjustment and course correcting and highly supportiveness could not come. I guess you could say it did come, because they did leave the decision up to Ryan Coogler. So I guess you could say Marvel was supportive in his fucked up emotional decision. But yeah, it's fun when your character gets supported. It's fun when your character gets treated with an open mind and they're willing to course correct it. It's fun. It's fun. Hell, Daredevil is even only in the MCU because Daredevil fans wanted Charlie Cox to portray the character. So what did they do? They made a petition, and guess what? Marvel saw that petition. Go look it up. Marvel saw that petition and said, gee willikers, there's a high demand for Charlie Cox as Daredevil, as Matt Murdock in the MCU. Let's make that happen. So yeah, they were willing, they were open-minded. It's fun when that happens. Let's see. We saw that. Oh yeah, this one. We've been saying this too. We've been saying this for a while. For all the people that were like, oh yeah, Avengers Secret Wars is still going to come out in 2020. No, 2026. That was not, no. Maybe at the time they announced that in D23, that might have been realistic. But the rumor is, and I think this is going to be readjusted at D23 or SDCC, where they're going to say this, Marvel will reveal their theatrical plans up through 2028 at SDCC. This could likely mean Avengers 5 and Secret Wars will now be released in 2027 and 2028, and I believe that. It's a massive story. It's a massive project. It's one that they cannot get wrong, especially with the trail of wrongness and receipts that they have currently since Endgame. This is a topping what you did. Can you top Endgame type of deal? So I do believe it's going to get pushed back. It was never come out in 2026 or whatever. This is a massive film. Yeah, 2028. Yeah, so it'll be older. It'll be a while, but 2028. Let's see. Avengers 5 will start filming in late March 2025 and continue through the end of summer 2025 due to the film's extensive cast and scale. Actors will shoot scenes in segments, often finishing within weeks and not always with a full cast present. And that's coming from Nexus Point. And we kind of know that Avengers 5 is now, I never thought it was going to be what Daniel RPK said, where he said it was going to be a more grounded film, blah, 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 blah. No. We haven't had an Avengers film since Endgame, and you thought that the next Avengers film was going to be grounded with She-Hulk's twerking ass and whoever the fuck else. That shit was never happening. I'm going to have to get my cats here in a minute, because there's some shit going on in there, and I'm about to have to regulate all that. But yeah, that distracted me. Don't believe that. I don't think that. None of that was going to ever happen. Sorry, none of that was ever going to happen. So it's going to be a much bigger cast. It's going to be a much bigger film. The story is, what they say, 60 something characters are supposed to show up. It's supposed to be multiversal, but grounded at the same time. Don't really know. We'll have to see what Avengers 5 is going to look like. They're already working on season 2. It's been teased by Brad Winterbaum for X-Men 97. And this is what he said about, I knew I had that. He said, it's really fun, but it's really scary, and it gets quite dramatic. She's an amazing anti-hero. Of course, every villain's got to come in and be an anti-hero. That the show lures you in with the fun of Halloween, and before you know it, you're crying. There are deadly stakes. It's a fun ride, but it's a dangerous one. We'll see. We will see if it's a fun and dangerous ride. And that is it. That is the news, because this goes into all those. I was bookmarking a lot of these things that people have been saying about just different takes on it. It's pretty interesting. But yeah, no, that is the news. Oh, Young Avengers, Andre asked about. So Young Avengers is rumored that Young Avengers is done. It's off the table for Marvel Studios. Do I believe that? I don't believe that it's off the table for Marvel. I don't believe it's off the table for Marvel. I think it's being recrafted. I think that it's going to serve more as not just a Young Avengers film. Yes, it'll be them maybe assembling or together in the film or whatever, but I think it's going to play a wider role with maybe Wanda or what, and maybe it is canceled. I don't know, but with Wanda or whatever they're trying to do with all of that. So I don't believe it's just canceled. I think it's going to possibly be reworked in some type of way. So yeah, that is. Yeah, I'm sorry. No more champagnes. That the Acolyte makes the sequel trilogy look like The Godfather. Jesus. Jesus. Yeah, that's the news, though. That is the news that we've got. There's nothing else really going on today that I've got to cover with you guys. I do appreciate everybody being here. Captain Sith Lord Sparrow. At your service. Ain't that it? Dude is playing an evil Ezra Miller. Bruh, that is probably one of the best ways it's been put. Yes. That's the dumbest inspiration choice since Eisenberg's Luther. Yeah. I'm telling you, Captain Jack, that's insane. That is insane. Howard Stark, I could see him as Howard Stark. Grace said that intentionally to ignite the idiots. Are we talking about when Grace said that dumb shit about, it's not sexy enough and that the fro gives blue and blue power or whatever the fuck she said, blue and black power, whatever she said. Grace is, people, I'm telling you, some people shouldn't have platforms to be able to just say the ignorant shit that they say. And the shit that Grace said, I didn't know that having a fro was political. I didn't know that our hair was political. I know that it gets treated political, but our hair is not political. Or is it only political when you're not, when it suits you to be political? Because I use this as all the time, you know. Our features and our things are only an issue when you aren't spending millions and thousands of dollars to get those very same features that you call ugly, or that you call political, or that you call this or this or that. That same skin color you run from, you spend thousands of dollars to try to get that skin color during the summer or during the winter, or to stay darker or whatever. So it's interesting to me when our hair or our features or whatever are political, or a problem, when it suits you, or it's with your narrative for it to be that way. But again, when you going under that knife, when you're trying to get those facial features, or you want those lips, or you want the eyes, or the skin color, or the butt, or the this or this or that, or whatever, all of our beautiful features that you are spending money for, then it's not political. So that shit's always interesting to me. That shit is always interesting. Yeah. Are John and Hal in? John and Hal aren't in Superman, are they? They're showing up in the just the Green Lantern series. They're not in, unless I'm missing it. Are they in this? I thought it was just Guy. I thought Guy was just in this one as one of the Lanterns. Let's see. Grace said Grace will do shit with her hair trying to dog whistle someone else. Too funny. Noah Gonzalez said, what about MCU X-Men movie at SDCC? Do I think they're going to announce anything about the X-Men at SDCC? From what we know, the the Mutant Saga is still not supposed to take place until after this, I believe. And if that's so, then maybe, because no, maybe not. If they're just doing up till 2028, that wouldn't be after Secret Wars. 2028 is just going to highlight Secret Wars, and then maybe the phases after that they announce it the next time. I don't know. I feel like we are way overdue. Way overdue is being nice. We're past overdue of being some type of news or something about the mutants or the mutant project or whatever X-Men project in the MCU. And not just dealing with the Fox X-Men from Deadpool. We actually want to see what are the X-Men in the MCU going to be? Who are they going to be? What are they going to be like? And does Marvel even know? Do they even really know the direction they want to take with the X-Men? I don't know. Do I think they're announcing something at SCCC though? No. Do I think that he might pull another, and we didn't even get to talk about the X-Men or mutants thing? Yes. Maybe D23. Because, Marvel did say that they are wanting D23 to be their SDCC, where they would prefer to drop the bigger bombshells at D23. So maybe at D23 you might get some type of X-Men conversation there. But at SDCC, I think they're more focused on just trying to get people excited about the current movies and things coming out. So I don't think so. They're definitely gonna, like Noah also said, SCCC should announce X-Men, Young Avengers, or Avengers 5. For sure, they're gonna talk about Avengers 5. They're definitely gonna talk about Avengers 5. And I wonder if they're even gonna address just the shit that has been Marvel in the last few years. I wonder if they're gonna address that at all. Probably not. Probably keep it real light and just be like, or maybe some type of reference like, hey, yeah, it's been fucked, but hey, here's what we got. I don't know. Yeah. But I think that's it. I think that's what we got. So, again, I do appreciate all you guys being here this evening. Appreciate you guys hanging out. Tomorrow is the 4th, so I'm not sure. Is the 4th of well, it's not a Canada thing, so Chill doesn't give a fuck. I'm sure Marcus probably has things to do with his loved ones, and I'm sure most of you guys are doing things with your family or going to events or whatever. If I do stream at all tomorrow on anything, it has to be something real good. If not, then it'd be Friday that I would get back in here and stream with you guys. Again, I'll discuss it with the rest of the Pantheon, Chill and Marcus, to see what plans are. But if not, we'll be live maybe tomorrow just to see. I don't know. But if not, then again Friday I'll be back in here with everyone. So appreciate you guys hanging out and listening and commenting and engaging. Always appreciate the love. So I'll be back. Like, subscribe, share with your friends, and I will see all of you guys in the next video. Peace out. Talk to you guys later.